you ever look out into the vast sea of the universe and challenge even your own imagination? You don't think we're alone, do you? When you hear that the government is doing something, you always believe it, don't you? We are your third eye. This is Chasing Prophecy. Challenging your beliefs and pushing the boundaries of your imagination. If it's unexplained, we're talking about it. Whether you're a believer or a skeptic, we cover everything from political mayhem and tyranny to alien abductions and paranormal phenomena. You are not alone. This is the Chasing Prophecy radio program. And now your hosts, Jenny Nicasio, Sean Kelly, and Michael Anthony.
Hey, good evening, everybody. My name is Sean Kelly, and my host, assistant host, Michael Anthony. Welcome to Chasing Prophecy. Jenny, she's got the day off again tonight. Hopefully, we'll have her back in a couple weeks. I just want to welcome everybody. We are on 105.3. New Orleans, then 107.7 Mississippi. And we got something different today. We're going to try something new. Here's what we're going to try, because we thought about this. We were doing some brain stuff, we were thinking. And I know that's kind of crazy, but yeah, I was thinking, we all were thinking. But we're going to be taking Chasing Prophecy for 3 hours tonight. But at the start of the third hour, we're going to have a Chasing Prophecy special segment into the night. Okay? So we're just, for the next 3 hours, sit back, relax, get something to drink, and enjoy the show. Good evening, Mr. Michael.
Good evening, Sean Kelly. And how are you, my friend?
Well, you know what? It was kind of like a stressful day for me today at work.
Okay.
Yeah, because people came out with the crazy questions again, like, well, how do I cook this? Or do you have any, here's the good one. It's like, well, do you have any ground pork in the case? And I say, yes, we do. So they go, well, I don't see it. Real smart attitude toward me, right? And so I took them by the hand and showed them where the ground pork was, and they just apologized. You know what I mean? And what else is like drives me crazy too, dude, is that we have those Insta shoppers, the people that go out and buy food for people, right?
Yeah.
Well, we end up doing their shopping for them because they can't find nothing. So, but that was my day today. I'm glad to be on Chasing Prophecy tonight. I'm excited about the new format we're going through. And how about your day? How was yours?
Oh, well, I woke up. Thank the Lord.
Yes.
I didn't sleep great. I mean, it's kind of hard when you're getting a little older. But anyway, so with that said, a little bit of a rough night. Got up. Was doing a little bit of investigative work into the world and what we're seeing, what's out there, checking into some paranormal things and friends that I haven't talked to in some time. Didn't even know they landed a show on TV until this morning. But I'm happy for them, and they go after the heavy dive spiritual aspects of things. I mean, it's all about demonology and some really high level intensity paranormal stuff. So, again, I can only be happy for people. I want to make a comment to you, though, on people staying at home and just sending in their shopping list. I know in ways that that's a good thing, and I would say it's a good thing probably for older folk, and we should be helping them the best we can, most definitely. But I think it's shameful if we get carried away in it because it's only going to be a demise into the future of the possibilities of how life will change and go, where everything will become by, you know, using the phone or sending a text, and everybody else is doing it for you, or robots are doing it for you. And then soon they'll say, well, there's no need for you to even come out anymore because we can handle this for you. Oh, you need paint? We'll drop it off. Oh, you need a case of beer? Well, look, we had hucksters, we had fruit people. It went away. People became reliable upon their own self sustaining abilities to go out and get things. But I do worry about that part going into the future, that we're handing over our freedoms to everyone of all countries. And by the way, hello to everybody out there in America and beyond. Blessings to you and thanks for joining us. But yeah, that worries me. And again, do we have a need for it? Most certainly.
Yes.
To be in place for people. But I don't think we should be focusing on the big element of picture, because I feel like we're just in more testing right now. If we keep going into this area and focus of this area, it's going to turn everything in the United States. I'm referring to the United States, but this will probably happen in a majority of all countries, to where suspiciously, without us even knowing it, we'll be locked on unless we go to the zoo, because of course they can't bring the lions, the tigers, oh my, and the bears, oh my, to you. But nevertheless, just venting some thoughts of what I'm thinking about into the future and so forth. Hey, I thought that was
Hey, Jolene, how are you? Good
Hi,
to see you. Thank you
hi.
for stopping by.
Yeah, how are you this evening? We're having a little bit of a slow start there, but our shares are getting on. Most of our viewership comes by the air, the way of the air, the radio,
Mhm.
live radio content. So we are streaming to hundreds of thousands, and thank you for allowing that and allowing us into your homes. What are your thoughts on how much is too much and when is too much? When we become so reliant, we're falling, to me, into a trap in ways.
Well, whenever the way I see it is, and it's really sad, um, they came out with this Insta shopping, right? And I think every other commercial store does it. You can go to like a hardware store and then they'll have your stuff. They'll even deliver it to you. I personally think during the 2 years between 2018 to 2020, whenever that the C word came in, we all got lazy. Okay. And because at that time you really weren't allowed to go into supermarkets, but if you did, it would be only set for a certain amount of time. But people just got really lazy and they started going to this Instacart, and it's just too much now. I believe people should get out and do their own shopping. Don't rely on somebody else. This is too much. Go out and buy your own paint. Go out and buy your own wood, because and what's crazy, Mike, I'm telling you, these people that do the shopping for other people, if we don't have the product for them that they ordered, right?
Yeah.
You can just hear them talking to the people who they're shopping for, and they're calling them every name in the book because we didn't have their product, So it's like, it's about all control, man. It's all about the control. And I don't think people realize it, to be honest with you. I really don't.
And then, we could even go into a different narrative with that. The worry of contaminants in foods. I mean, you work in a meat department. So let me run this by you here. And I'm doing this in a sincere way to basically be a spokesperson to the ones who are not listening or may not always catch things. Um, Ground beef, pink slime, ammonia. I'm not talking about the scraps when you go up to a butcher like you behind the counter
Hmm.
and, they can say to you, what do you have? What kind of ends and cuts do you have left that you can make me up a nice package of ground meat? Because if you go to the ready-mades in some cases, from what I understand, it may not be within your store, but I am hearing when these pre-packed packages come in that they may have been manipulated a little bit by other things being added to now the ground beef. Would you say that that's true?
It is a pause. It's the truth. That's fact. That's the truth.
Okay.
Whenever
See,
you
that
got
that worries me. That
right,
this is our nutrition. This is our sustain. Should we be worrying about what's in it?
I
Have you?
would. I never buy pre-packed stuff at all because you got to figure they hit it with carbon carbon dioxide, nitrogen, or something in order for it to keep red in the package.
Keep the color. Yeah.
Yeah, to keep the color going.
Yeah, like Stay Fresh and stuff for vegetables and whatnot. And it actually does bring them back to life.
Yes, it
You
does.
know, restaurants for years back in the day when I cooked, you cooked on the ships, the military. Um,
Hmm.
we got these products, and we would ice the lettuce and stuff to and rinse it and clean it. But Cisco and Bearhorst and some of these other companies that we order from, they had these containers that said "Stay Fresh" on them, and you would just take a spoon of that into your ice barrel and move it around.
Right.
And I swear it gave it such glimmering color and crispness.
Hmm.
And I mean, it really, had an effect. So to me, when we know these things, innocently enough, we were probably using them and maybe we shouldn't have been. But it just tells me that we're looking into a whole different narrative of where we are in the food industry. Something else that came to light, and I've seen this multiple times, and I've never said this before. I've heard people talk about McDonald's, um, doing this process, and that there are some hot dog companies now doing this. And the story behind it gets even more weird that there are things that contain human DNA being put into the hot dogs.
Right.
Now,
No, I agree.
this is like, is this where the missing's going? I mean, we have a missing population of people on this planet. Do you take cancerous patients and utilize a body to indulge a cheaper way to make a product somehow, or to eliminate it from the earth? This is mind-blowing, bizarre. And again, many of us have heard rumors, and I don't want to get nobody in trouble. I don't want to say the wrong thing, but it's been said that one of these fast food hamburger restaurants has been involved with the same type of materials, we'll call them, of DNA, of like what we are, and they're being blended into the food. I mean, look, I'm not trying to make myself sound like the biggest idiot in the world out there. I'm trying to get to the bottom of this like everybody else. But I'm seeing it much too frequently now, and by people of science and by people in leadership positions. What have
I
you heard on that?
what I've heard, I know what story that you're talking about, um, but I do believe it wasn't here in the States. I think it was somewhere overseas for that. But still, whenever um, see, whenever you buy ground meat at work, right, they come in tubes, 10-pound tubes.
Right.
Okay.
Hey, Victor.
And honest to God, nobody knows what's in them. And I mean, there's times I'll tell you how bad it was is that when you would open them up to grind it, that smell of gas would come up, right? You know what I mean? And you know what? I threw it away. I just throw it away because I'm not going to feed my customers that. I'm not
Right.
going to grind that for them because what it does, it affects the other pure ground meat that was in there, you know.
Sure.
So what I usually recommend, and I recommend this to you, Mike, and your family, and everybody out there who's listening in on the show, if you want really good ground meat, real good, you go and you buy a roast, okay, a
Right.
chuck roast, a bottom round roast, but any kind of roast. Go back and have the meat cutter or butcher grind it for you twice.
Yeah.
That
Fine
is the
grind.
best ground meat going.
Yeah.
But like for instance, there's a couple of times that they brought in meat, okay, and it already comes, already broke down, and you can tell when you hear about the slime, right? That's where they shoot them with the antibiotics. You know what I mean? It's what makes them get fatter faster. Okay,
Yeah.
and and what they go through in order to, process a cow. I mean, they have to knock that cow out with jumper cables of some sort, or some kind of thing. Yeah, because they're not allowed to do a live kill in the United States. And but sometimes at the end the cow will tense up real quick, and then his meat's it's good, but it does not look appetizing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I can understand how that falls into certain narratives of things also, when we look at other somewhat objectives uh, with that. And one of our friends here, Victor, says our food is being added with so many bad things. Right, correct. Like mRNA is another focus where we are. Same with when we look at some of these other scenarios that are being thrown at us. It doesn't matter what it is, whether it's meat or vegetables and so forth. They have a way to do it, and here's the whole fact behind it: pharma, pharma, pharma.
Mm-hmm.
Pharma found its way now into putting these atrocities into our foods,
Right.
into our vegetables, into the growth processes. And we should be worried. We really should. A Facebook user,
You know who it is.
I don't know. You are not nuts, Michael. I'm not sure. I'm just going to stay quiet on it because if he wants to be or she wants to be, I get that. And I thank them for coming in. But you are not nuts. It's also being done in our water. Yeah, I have that all listed right here. I swear to you, I do. I've been following all this micro things when it comes to water, adding certain types of carbonations that are. Since when does water have carbonation in it? It shouldn't. But now
Right.
we're getting mystery bubbles in water. Of course, I don't know, but to me, it's like they're vaccinating through the air, food, and water distributions all over the world. I mean, I feel like we are under an attack of a different attack.
It's River Rose, buddy.
Oh, that's River Rose playing the game. It's
Yeah.
me.
Hey, River, how are you, buddy? Good to see you.
Hey,
Welcome.
she's incognito. Hey, great to see you and
Yes.
coming in. So, hey, if you're just listening to us for the first time, this is Chasing Prophecy. And whether you're out there in TV land or radio land, thank you for joining us. And know that we're making comments back to some of our Facebook constituents who follow the show now and so forth. But you're welcome also. And maybe I'll put a number up if somebody has a comment or something you want to talk about. You have a story you'd like to share, an encounter. This is the show that talks about everything as we go into the unknowns and knowns, and we try to bring information to everybody. We'll put up a number. I mean, if anybody wants to call in, we'll graciously allow you to do that into the studio. So yeah, we do have to be worried about a lot of things, and we have to take care of ourselves. And even when people are thinking they're doing the damnedest to do their best, there's a brick wall,
Right.
and that saddens me. Anything you want to read up there on the postings?
It just says, why am I coming up as a Facebook user? Weird. I am not doing. I don't. That is River. I don't know. Maybe you're in the doghouse. There are a lot of people in the doghouse lately.
Let the dogs out. Yeah. So anyway, we are radio, so we can sing. But no,
Yes.
I mean, yeah. So we're in that place with that. But the big thing is they couldn't put it into you. So they're going to figure out another way to get it into you. And it is
Right.
through air, food, water. I mean, we cannot trust anything at this point. And,
No.
blessed be the Georgia Guidestones that once were. I hope everybody read some of the narratives and all the different languages that was posted on those stones. I guess that's why it was a necessity for somebody to have them removed. I
Well,
don't
you know what? You know how people relied on rainwater, right? You can't
Mhm.
do that no more. You can't rely on that.
No, I wouldn't. I'm actually afraid to collect rainwater. And in some areas, they claim that that's a violation. Here, I'll give you something
Huh?
else. Yeah,
Really?
yeah. You have to have special approvals to certain areas in the United States. No, I don't know how well they enforce it. It's like spitting on the sidewalk or jaywalking. These laws exist on the books, but how well do they really, and how much pressure do they actually apply to say, hey, no, that's a no. You can't do that. But yeah, also don't burn no more. Don't have campfires. Um, take all our rights away. Why don't you? But this is the kind of thing that we live with, at least in the United States. To everybody out there listening, I hope in your countries it's a little bit different. You have a little bit more added freedoms. And hats off to everybody over there across the ocean for fighting as hard as you guys do. You're in a
No.
hell of a battle, and we love you to death here. You're true patriots.
But speaking of rules, I just read something that they don't want us to hunt or fish no more.
Well, I mean, there's some things coming up about that, but I haven't seen nothing under the Game Commission in Pennsylvania. But yeah, there are some things like that going on. But I don't know the severity of it. But I can tell you this. Look, they have their hands into everything. And one of the things that came out that I did a story on through America in Crisis on Facebook, YouTube, that I got in trouble for. And I'm happy to say I got in trouble, because if I got in trouble, they heard the truth. And they had to make me look bad for doing it, exposing the truth. But hey, I don't mind being like Alex Jones and Jesse Ventura, because these were the rock stars that opened the doors to many people, in many people's minds. But, there was a point in time where Facebook crew, the Zuckerberg crew, part of an LLC, got involved a little bit more with pharma, and they went into the wild and they were tranquilizing and injecting to all the wildlife. Supposedly, the way it went down was over the period of time while they were insisting upon everybody take one, take two. If you take two of the Johnsons, you'll never need it again. It's like a double dose. Well, what are
Mhm.
they on? They're pushing the fifth one to some people, and some people are still falling to the fact the first one was going to work. The second one did work. No, the third, you're going to need the third. No, we need the fourth and the fifth. But anyway, they were doing this into the wildlife. And they said that they actually had success with 1 million injections in the wildlife. So for the hunters out there that are out thinking that nature is the best way to go, they've had their hands into this area as well, and they are injecting our wildlife is also. So we're really being put into a corner at this point in many ways.
Hmm. But you know what happens? But when the honey badger gets cornered, though, he comes out fighting. You know what I mean? We have to come out fighting. Since I've been working with Michael, I do a lot of thinking now, and I do, I do.
Ooh.
He got me hooked on thinking. But you know what? There's a lot of stuff out there that's starting to make sense on what Michael and the others talk about, and it's just like really irritating. You know what I mean? When we grew up, oh, that's another thing I want to talk about. So when we grew up, we were out till this street light came on, and we drank from a fountain. We played in mud, and we're still here, Michael, right?
Right.
Now if you go out there, now it's like you can't do that. You can't touch that. You can't go in the mud. There might be some diseases in there. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
And that's a bunch of bullshit. It really is. Kids can't be kids. Kids cannot. And you know what? I blame technology on that. I blame the phones. I blame um, the computers, because all they want to do is sit and play on their phones. And I'm going to tell you something. I went to a restaurant the other day, not the Chinese one. I went to another one, and I saw a family of 4. They didn't talk to each other. They were on their phones. Well, what the hell? What is this world coming to? I remember when I was young, every time 5 o'clock, dinner was on the table, TV went off, and you talked about your day.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you just put it in a microwave and it's already cooked for you.
And yeah, you want to stay away from those processed foods too. I mean, stop buying the Michelina and the Stofers and the products like that. And Hungry Man, listen, make your own foods. Buy from farms, reliable sources, including your chicken eggs, all these types of things. Help the farmers, help the bee farmers. Stay in tune to the environment, to Mother Earth, and to the good side of how we can get by. I know there was a downside to this conversation, but there's a light at the end of the tunnel when I talk.
Right.
I want you to know that there are alternatives. Growing yourself, sustaining things yourself, buying from the right people, also setting up into the future, bartering systems between other farmers or yourself or your friends, to where you share in the harvest come fall. And that's what's also most important, to know that there is another end. Like, you may not, I didn't get any of this year. I didn't have time to do this, but I have an abundance of this. Well, take that abundance with you and ask them if they'll barter a little bit. Take a couple dollars off, and I'm going to give you 5 pounds of green beans, something. And I think you'll see that in ways, if they have the need for it, they will work with you, or
Right.
they might even say, hey, look, I don't need them, but if you're in a bad place, I'll help you out. And this time we'll do it for that. We'll make it your purchase easier on you. There are very good people in the world out there who don't like what's going on, but in ways still stay quiet. Now, I want to bring this up because I had my ear reamed the other day by a young lady, but she wasn't mad at me. She's mad at the entirety of this situation. And so am I. I even put a post up that said, we voted for you, do something about this. We hear them bitching as much as we are, but we never hear an end result. At least in our country, the United States of America, that's where we're, broadcasting out of. This is what we're dealing with. We have leadership, constituents. They sound great on the surface. They go to places, they talk about the same stories that you and I are talking about. Enough with the citizen journalism bullshit. State your facts, get back to work. This is look, good or bad. We voted you people into this place. You accepted it. You're getting paid for it. Hey, good or bad, 24/7. You wanted it. You got it. Get us some results. People are sick and tired of this. Marjorie, we love you. Bill, we love all the ones we love. But the bottom line is this. People were sick of hearing them talking about it. Now,
Yes.
It comes down to the newest situation. This dilemma that now the top elderly aide in Washington, to be kind, say it like that. Is it over for him? I mean, look at the shit show that just come out on this information, the things that came from look, there are more. Everyone think, well, there's a lab. No, there's 3 laptops. This is what nobody's looking at. One that was missing from the 6th of that month. And again, I have friends out there now trying to help people. We've had over 1,000 people that have been criminalized and arrested, or being kept in prison, not being granted any proper rights. They're still sitting there. Many of them still facing trials and time. Yes, some have been released, but enough is enough, especially when we've seen the true scenario. We saw the videos of the scenario, and we know where the scenario of the attack truly was. It was on our own United States of America. Nothing happened at that building up there that was that catastrophic when we seen $2 billion in damages occurring all throughout the United States of America. I mean, and that was okay. Stand on, Mr. Officer. Don't touch them. You might get sued. You don't want to get in trouble. And you know what? When they would see people who tried to do their job be intimidated, get fired, now be imprisoned, all because they were trying to do their job. Many guys don't know how to do their job no more.
Exactly.
How do you do your job? What are they there for? This is the same with our constituents in Washington. We hear you. We hear you screaming at these people, and we're rooting for you. But we have a problem. Get it resolved. Make something happen. Get something to stick. Is there nobody left? It has the strength of the left been that strong where there is nobody left where we can do absolutely nothing.
Right.
I mean, you look, and I understand what this young lady was. I kept telling her, don't beat my ear. I hear it. And I wasn't being negative to her. She had every right to say what she was saying to me. But again, I hear it 100 times a day from different sources of people, a lot of media mail now coming due to the radio show, and also a couple other platforms that I deal with. And I'm getting a lot of responses from people. I love who we have up there trying to do their best. But are they? Do they need more help?
I think they need a little more help, Mike.
Can they hire more people? What do you need from us to help you get the job done? Do you need volunteers in your offices? Do you hear me? Probably they don't, but do you hear me? I'm hoping the world hears me on this, because in most cases, we are all going through this in every country on this, in the entirety of this earth. Somehow, some way, somewhere, someone is fighting back. Do our constituents on our side need help? Yell for us. Maybe somebody could come in and clean the office and pick up papers or help you locate something. Maybe we could double down on some of your work, take some of the pressures off. Maybe we have attorneys that would volunteer to help you. What do we need to do to rectify what is going on?
Everything you just said.
Yeah.
But everything that you just said. But you know, now when I got into the political situation a while back, there were some people that I really looked up to. And then as time went on, I really found out what they were all about. Okay. And I'm like, you're an ass. You're an ass. Why are you doing this? The one, I'm going to behave and not say no names. But about the guy, the Navy SEAL who was going to go to jail for life, right? And
is this over that thing in New York subway?
No, that's a different story.
Okay,
that's a different story. And they went to the one Congress dude because he was a he was a SEAL himself, and the SEALs thought he could help them out. It's a bunch of bullshit, Mike. He wanted to throw the boy in prison. And then whenever they came out and they started to ban that wonderful, app that's on everybody's phones that tell the truth, right? He's the one that wanted to get rid of it. But for the longest time, he just kept saying, I'm here to fight for you. I'm here to do this for you. I'm here to do that for you. And in the meantime, in the back of his freaking head, he was doing the exact same opposite.
Yeah.
And then they got into people who were looking at his his financial situations on the stock market, right? And here he had stock in all those places where he didn't help out at. God, you got me going today, buddy. Yeah. I'm gonna go to the gym later on.
It's
Seriously.
good when we get each other going. We got to get,
Yeah, man.
hey, it is what it is, and the shit show just keeps getting worse. You have 93%. Did he disappear?
Yeah, I disappeared.
Oh, okay. Go ahead. So we have 93% of people now having blood clotting disorders. Now, wait, we've been going over this for a long time. We knew it was coming. They're pulling these things out of people 3 feet long that look like gigantic worm syndrome, something. I don't know. We see sudden death drop off scenarios going on. But we've reached one of the highest concerns where 93% of the people, and we're speaking in the United States, that have received these magical cures, the Lucky Charm syndrome, whatever things, you know where I'm going with this. 93%. I mean, it used to be 5 or 6, like everybody said forever back in the day, and everything was being investigated and torn apart, and now it's altogether different. It doesn't work that way. But 93%, I mean, this is an intensity of a number that is hard to imagine, but it seems to be more than factually true. We have people that have good credentials, that have done their homework, and they're sharing this type of information with us. It's crazy. And then they want you to believe that the possibilities that we'll be under an alien attack soon. Well, maybe that's a factual event that will happen too. But if it does, it's only them showing you our own technology. And I think if they were to do it, it will happen probably in early 2024. Just a thought in my head because of what we're going to step into, what's at stake, what we want to happen. And they will literally destroy, in my mind, if they pull this off, destroying things in cities just to show some type of scenario of fact behind it. Oh, it's not ours, it's them. And go hide, run to your basement. Maybe, just maybe, we're in that type of place. I don't know. But you have to wonder when you hear so many different things are coming out. Anything is possible. And so, 2024 could be the big mass event. Who knows? The big massive alien attack that everybody's kind of like talking about. That's kind of like how I put my focus into things when I look at them. I try to look at the overall everything of the issues and narratives. Here's another one that came out. We're not really doing news here. We're just BSing. But Trump is being basically, how do I want to say it? Anyways, being put into a bad place where they are claiming he has been using intimidation tactics on witnesses. There was a word I was going to put in there. It would have fitted so nice had I been able to think of it, but I couldn't. And that happens sometimes at the end of a workday. So I don't know what's going on there. I don't know what's going on because today I worked late and then I come home. I ate, showered. I was right here. But I was hearing some things like you said that something went down. Some things were making it on YouTube. We can't confirm any of this because I haven't validated any of it. But maybe some of you guys know. Was Trump found guilty on something? If anybody knows on that remark that I just made, on this 30-year-old scenario that is way beyond statutes of limitations, but anything to stop the man from success and a successful run for the presidency. But it's okay for DeSantis to be creative and figure out a way through narratives where he can run for president and still remain governor. That's okay. And while he's doing it, he's going to be able to show, with the help of his constituents, whoever they are, because I don't know. I feel like this guy gut punched the United States of America doing what he did, backstabbing Trump in the way that he did, because I think he did it to all of us. Has he been a rock star in Florida? Yeah, but what if it's all not real? What if it's all about a matter of position and placement that we're unaware of, that he may have ties to other people? Because now it seems like where nobody else can get something done, he comes up again. He has a way to fight back on the CCP coming into Florida and having any type of jurisdiction or places of jurisdiction where they can develop police stations like we're seeing pop up all over the United States, but not in Florida. Isn't it amazing that he can run so squeaky clean this way? To me, it's almost too perfect.
Right, 100%. I don't trust him.
I just think there's something wrong with there's something wrong with the picture. Somehow there's something wrong with it. It's like that everybody is grooming. Here's the way the thought just came to my brain. It's like they want to make sure that Trump doesn't run for president, and they're grooming DeSantis to move into his place. Right.
That's the way I look at it right now.
Well, here's the secret question. Who will he be running with? When will he make that announcement? And who will that be? Because we got Joe that says he's going to run anyway with the girl genius that he has up there that we see do nothing. I mean, look what's happened at the border. I mean, now we have to send 1,500 National Guard down there. Yeah, hello. Are you finally going to do it? Is it really going to help? And I was watching the Cabbage Patch Girl, the one that's the speaker for the president that comes out and deals with the press and so forth. The looks she's starting to give these people for the questions they're asking. And it's like, hey, you wanted the job. You got the job. Answer the freaking questions. Well, she just can't come up with answers fast enough because, there's too many of them and they're asking all the right questions. Finally, we're seeing more, but there's always been some rock stars sitting in the audience asking the right questions. They just try to subdue those people, or let's just say they'll go over their heads to another constituent in the audience that wants to ask the question. Some sometimes come out too aggressive when it doesn't fit their agenda and they overlook them.
Right.
So I don't know. It's mind-blowing. Anyway, what do we got going on here from this young lady? We want real action. We want America first. We want to see real wrestling. You're right. I agree with you. I mean, I tried putting up a couple posts saying, what can we do? I mean, it's almost like, what do we have to do as citizens to get involved to help? If we can make a citizen's arrest, we should be able to do citizen volunteerships, internships, without being anybody, without being in high school or college or any other bullshit academic program out there, to go and help our constituents put some of these people behind bars, to slow down this agenda that's being pushed, because people are really sick of it. Social anxiety in the United States, but I know it's a worldwide phenomenon. It's never been so immense. I mean, it's huge. People are saddened. They're hurt. They're scared. They are afraid. And they know now if they say too much. This is why I fear a lot of people don't even come into the chat rooms anymore. For one, they're suppressing our information. They're suppressing our shows. They're bottom feeding them. They don't come to the top. Most of our followers that do follow us never even get notifications that we are live anymore. But nevertheless, that works for them. How do we fight back to where something makes perfect and better sense? I don't know. Anything I do, I put up promos I'm going to be on. I try to enlighten people. If you don't want word, if you don't want good reason, if you don't want good, intelligent conversation, then I guess you're going to double dog down and stick your head up your butt because you're too scared to do anything about it. But yet there's still some of us out here speaking freely. How was that working for you? How the hell did I stay on all these years and never get completely removed? It's pretty amazing, you know. So you have a freedom to come in here and to speak or to talk. And if you want to, and like and share, please always do that. Share it to your constituents, your friends, your Facebook, favorite Facebook groups and your YouTube channels and wherever else you can put it out there. And by the way, I just to give a heads up, we are going to have a very, very, very special guest. So I'm telling this to all the ears out there that get into the topic of Bigfoot. We're going to have the leading, most looked upon in many ways, in the Bigfoot arena, so to speak, in platforms of the community, Ron Moorhead. He'll be on with us the evening of the 16th this month at 7:10. We'll listen to the Sierra sounds and things like that. And this is why we do what we do. We can talk paranormal. We can talk what's going on in your world and our world. And if there's something you want to bring up, let me know. You want to call in, and we'll send you a number. We'll patch you a direct number to call in on.
And everybody out there listening into the rooms, or, ask a question. That's why we're here. Me and Michael are having conversation on the stuff that is happening around today. And
well, you know what, though, again, you're only going to be as successful as people want to be involved. When people are hot under the collar because something got to them, they're all over Facebook looking for answers, or over YouTube looking for answers, or over Rumble looking for answers, or over Gab. They're all over the world looking for answers. That's when it's important. You're going to have to wait for a bomb to go off above everybody's head for them to really focus down on the fact that this importance, these things are important today. They were important yesterday. They were important last week. They've never not been important, because every day you wake up, there's a new battle. And but again, how many people were tired of it? How many people maybe left social media and more? But, the one thing we have on our side that a lot of people don't have, and we have to be grateful for, is the fact that we have many ears out there worldwide listening to us now. And that's a great thing. Well, you've had them for quite some time. For me, It's something new. I'm sitting here talking to an environment of the world. And the only thing I can say is we're all in this battle together. We're all patriotic together. We will unify and be stronger if we are all together, and we must remain together and never give up on that thought and theory. Always let that be your focus while you fight back.
Now, do you remember, I just saw it maybe a week ago or less than a week, but the people up in New York were actually protesting about getting the shot. They were actually protesting. Did you hear it? Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been.
It was like great, man. It was great.
Yeah, but you know what? What does that do? I mean, there's no more mandate for it. I mean, there isn't. It's secretly being discussed on the golf course, as we kind of discussed the other night.
Yeah.
You have these special.
That's where they make the deals, dude.
Yeah, you have these special meeting grounds, and they know what they're doing, just like the Kamahoma brothers. I mean, they both did it. They're both gone. What are they charged with? I mean, they should be charged with crimes on humanity. They knew this whole thing was the HOAX or whatever, however you want to spell it. It was all a lie. And so was the cure. Everything Fauci told Trump turned out to be a lie. Well, we need ventilators. We need ventilators. Well, Trump said, I'll get you ventilators. How many do you need? Well, we're going to need 100,000. Wow, that's a big number, but let me get on the phone. It's funny how Trump got that done so fast. And then it seemed we didn't need them. Well, we're going to need everything within 2 weeks. This is going to be so drastically bad. So what's Trump do? He gets our naval ships and all these doctors and nurses, and they get called into duty, into action. None of them ever needed. People going around the United States, and I'm not saying we weren't having issues. There were fair issues of concern more than we had health, flu issues of concern. And then, people are going in with video cameras trying to film. There's nobody in the hospital halls. We're on lockdown. We got people out doing citizen journalism out there, videoing like into the paranormal, into the night. And there's nobody in the hospitals. But yet, the numbers were catastrophic. The case numbers were nuts. When every healthcare worker in the United States removed their parents from nursing homes to put yours in to make room, no, don't think so.
No,
They knew what the plan was going to be against America. and they've never lightened up. It's just the focus right now is not that; it's all these other scenarios that we've been fighting against. Well, it's settled down now that there is a possibility that so much information has come out on this family, and like I said, if you don't have a product to back up an LLC to show where the money came from, there's going to be some very serious questions being asked. The problem is, does our constituents have enough power and enough balls to ask the right questions to get something done? I don't know. We can only offer them help. That's all we can really do.
And and debate them too, buddy. I heard about, when we talked about you having a little debate with Mr. DeSantis, was it?
Yeah, I'd love to have one with him. I mean, I'm not saying that he's not a rock star and can, has great abilities for intelligent conversations, but so does a lot of other people. And I would love to sit with him for 10 minutes, 15. I'd love to sit with Donald J. Trump for that long and ask him some serious questions that would take him back to from the past into the future, and not to demean him, but to, just like wonder why. I mean, one of the things that always bugged me was the fact that for a considerable amount of time, he was telling the world that it was safe. This thing was safe. Warp speed was phenomenal. We created it. It was done. Was it done? Is that why we have 93% of everyone that got it now having blood clot disorders? And that's only one scenario of issues. And, I don't want to put him in a bad spot. That's not what I'm about. But if you're going to give me the right to do journalism, then I have the right to ask the bigger questions also. And if you don't allow me to ask the bigger questions, then who's ever I'm asking the questions to, whether it be him or anyone else, if you don't agree with my focus of narrative, then you're suppressing me, and that makes you no better than anybody else. But I would love to have Donald Trump come on. He came on for Wendy Bell right up the road from me, and then Wendy doubled down on him and made very rude comments about him.
Really?
Yeah, she made comments. I don't reflect in my head in the moment what was said, but she had some concerns of worry. And I'm not saying that she dissed him. I think she was doing a job as a journalist, as somebody who came from behind a seasoned desk, that knew how to be a rock star, that is out there trying to fight for America, who pledges allegiance to the flag at the beginning of every one of her shows. Look, I love what she's done. I have very serious questions that I want to ask a lot of people, but I don't think I'll ever be able to. But again, I'm just venting the fact that I would love to.
Okay.
I'm going to grab water and open a window.
All right, buddy.
From you for a second. So
I hope everybody's enjoying the show today. There's so much stuff going on in the world right now, and it's kind of new to me. And through Michael and a lot of the other people that I have met through Michael, they have really seriously opened my eyes. My question to you is, everybody, are your eyes open? Are you looking at what is going around? Do you need help? I mean, this show right here tonight, you can ask whatever's on your mind. You can tell us what you need, and if we don't have the answer for you tonight, you know what? Honestly, we will find the answers for you. I want everybody to be happy. I want everybody to enjoy life. I'm tired of this crap, and I'm being totally honest with you. I'm tired of it,
Yeah.
And so that's where I'm at. But before we go on, I do have a couple announcements to make. The first one, I want to thank Carnation for sponsoring the second hour of Chasing Prophecy. And we come up with a new format tonight, first time ever, see how it works out. We're running Chasing Prophecy for 3 hours tonight, okay? But on the third hour, it's going to be a segment of Chasing Prophecy, and it's going to be into the night. And then we'll talk about some paranormal stuff. We'll talk about the investigations we've been on. And if you want to ask us questions, please feel free, and we'll give you answers to the best of our abilities.
Yeah.
Feeling better, Mike?
Yeah, I had to open a window off the side. It was just felt like the room was a little, I don't know, just a little, not dark, but
it's all your energy. It's all your energy spewing from you, and it's just like corralled into your room. You know what I mean? Which is just like, it's real hard to breathe.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Hey, so if anybody wants to call in, you have anything on your mind, I'm going to give you a number where you can do so. Get your pencils, get your paper ready, and get ready to dial in. You may want to put a 1 in front of it. 724-954-1193 if you'd like to join in with me and Sean.
That's okay, what's that number again, Mike?
724.
Okay, hold on. 724
954
954
1193
1193. That's 724 954 1193.
And look, it could be about anything. If you want us to talk about UFOs, crystal skulls, it's something I actually want to talk about is crystal skulls.
Yes.
They're magically delicious. No. I'll get in trouble for spewing that out or something, But I mean, no, in all honesty, those things blow me away. And so do crop circles. Hey, it's the UFO Paranormal Radio Network and United Public Radio. How are you? Thank you for joining in with us. Is that Joe hiding behind the light?
No, that's me. I'm the one that typed that in.
Oh, that was you.
Yes,
you're more incredible than I thought. You can do more than one thing at one time. I love the fact. I thought maybe that was Joe, our producer, coming in playing the game. But yeah, so listen, we'll remove that number at the end of the night. But if anybody out there in Radio Land and more, Roku, wherever we're landing to you guys, if you have a question, you want to talk about something, just get our theory, thought. If you're bored, dial the number. 1-724-954-1193 and reach out to Michael or Sean. We're right here for you. So let's talk about these crop circles, man. They're mind-blowing. People say, they're being duped by people. No, the sophistication behind these things are mind-blowing. And I know people are seeing them and have been. What intelligence is capable to do that? Man can't do it. No footprints ever left behind. The most fascinating part about it, when you look at the environment, even though you see this landscape being totally redone, reset, there is never any fiber breakage in the wheat field. If it's in a wheat field, in a grass field, in a hay field, never is there breakage. It's like it's done with no harm to the environment. And I think they reflect messages. I think somebody up there, or from the inner earth, or from these underwater submersibles, or dimensional, are coming here utilizing some type of possibly structured language through art that we don't understand. Maybe it's their language. Maybe our military is figuring it out. I mean, we were able, like with Ron Moorhead coming in, he had people that were able to figure out these Sierra sounds were language. So that's fascinating. And also, I want to say this. I'll be on this Wednesday, which is tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock, with Russell Easterbrooks and Ernie Dubois. And I'm sure we'll be catching up on some of Melba's report that just came out, that they have now created a name for Bigfoot. But I'm not going to give that out. You'll have to watch it on the Facebook group, America Disclosing Uncensored. And that will be on tomorrow between, I think we'll go live at 1. We'll probably be done around 2:30, something like that. It's going to be an afternoon format show, but it's going to be incredible. Listen to Ernie's story. That's all I want to say. If you're at work, take your little earplugs. Wait, don't do that. I like the cans better. I'm not into this Wi-Fi generating brain stimulated stuff. But anyway, if you can listen. If you can't, check it out on the replay. These guys are phenomenal. Russell's a beautiful soul. He really is. He's going to bring a lot to the table. I have a lot of questions for him because I know he's been doing a lot of research, and I'm sure he's anxiously waiting to share a lot of these things tomorrow. So check it out there, everybody.
Why don't you tell us about some other upcoming guests that we got coming onto the show, Mike?
Oh, I don't have the dates in front of me. I should have brought that down. I failed to do that, but okay. Well, Max is coming on the 30th.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking the Philadelphia experiment, UFOs, time disruptions, and making objects disappear, so to speak. So we know energy can do it, and he's going to deep dive into the narrative on that. Max is a beautiful, beautiful guy, wealth of information. Everybody's a wealth of information if they make it onto this platform to go to the world, to focus the information onto the world with us.
They got Victoria.
Agatha, yeah, Victoria, well, Constance Victoria Briggs.
Yeah.
She'll be on, I think,
23rd.
23rd, yeah. So Constance, I just did a show with her too. We didn't even get into the nitty gritty of anything. It was only an hour broadcast, and I respect that. I think she's going to be on a little longer with us for the 23rd. So much is going on that moon. I mean, look, there are private people investing into their own technologies and equipment. They're watching things going on up there. There's movements that are pretty incredible. Are they ours? Is our Space Force involved more than they truly want us to know? Is that why the big bang possibility is the alien invasion 2024? That would be appropriate, right? I mean, think about it. Destroy the narrative of an election, to blow everybody's mind from it, to put the fear of God into people, to have these crafts with systems in them that, some may find hard to believe. With weaponry systems that some may find hard to believe that they can have. We have these technologies. If they have put these and invested these into these crafts, I assure you, we will see some type of 4th of July when they get here. But nevertheless, also a beautiful friend of mine, Agatha Fuller, just beautiful starseed, travels the world. Very, very bright, very brilliant, very, very, positive type person. But she's informative. She has a lot of information. She visits all the right places all over the world. She tries to seek and help. She's been on shows with millions of views. You will enjoy her. She's been my guest before, and I cannot wait to introduce her to Chasing Prophecy and to everybody else.
I'm looking forward to it.
And you know what? There's no way to describe how beautiful of a human being she is. And I'm talking her inner energy and the material values of how she analyzes things. And, nobody has to agree with everybody, but we go home friends. And that's what's important.
Yes.
But she'll have a lot to say, and she'll give us a lot of guidance on probably how to focus more on strength. Nobody knows more than her. She's always said to me, Michael, because she talks broken English, you'll have to pay very close attention. Very sweet voice, and she will tell you, you can't do that. She has her way of communicating, yelling at me, but not yelling at me, telling, focus, Michael, focus on positive, no matter how bad the outcome. This is what I do, try to push on people. And it's not because, we have one of the other greatest teachers out there now in the universe, Billy Carson, forbidden knowledge. I mean, a rock star. Billy says the same thing. We have to take this change, make this change. We have to evolve. We have to become unified. And I think, they're onto something really big there. And that's why I follow it. And that's why I believe in it. No matter how bad your day starts, it doesn't mean you can't turn your back to walk in a more positive direction from it. Yes, you may have to come back to deal with it at a later point in time. We all may have to do that. But we don't have to fall into their trap with it. We can deal with it with an army. Like me, if somebody tells me you got to do it this way, I don't have to do it no way. And I can do it the way I want to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Because something's being pushed on me doesn't mean I have to concentrate on the push. I can concentrate on the brighter side of how I can basically do everything not to give them what they want. And to me, if I do that, I'm fighting in the battle. I'm fighting a better fight than they are because I'm telling myself, stay free of the negativity and stay focused on the positivity and move forward. And that's the best way we can live.
But you know,
Nobody's having a great time at this right now.
but you know what, Mike? There's so much negativity out there. You would have to, I mean, here's positive and here's like negative, and you're going to actually need to get a drill to go into getting to that positive stuff. Today was unbelievable. No one was happy. No one smiled. Nobody at all. And it's disheartening.
Yeah, I hear you. I mean, that's what you went through. So I go down to this place that this family I had to have removed that turned this place into the house that I call the hell house. I walk in. I'm never happy about what I'm seeing. A premeditative format of disaster, basically. You can't always tell somebody how to live, but the narrative's bigger than what I'm expressing. But when I walk in there, I know every day it's a waste of my life because of someone being a waste in their own life. And they caused this issue throughout every room, throughout every square inch of the property. But when I go in, the one thing I do find that gives me energy is the fact that I can make something look better. Mm-hmm. And that's how I put my focus. I put my focus into the fact, what am I going to do and what will my end result be today when I stand back and look at it before I leave? And I got to tell you, if you go to work every day like that, if you wake up like that every day, even with everything we're fighting, you're going to have a better outcome in your day. Look back and reflect at the end of your day and look at what you did. Look how strong you truly were, even though you may not even have known that what you were doing reflects strength. But we all have it. We all, at the end of that moment, can sit back. If one will allow their mind to think that way, they will figure out, hey, I got through this today. Mm-hmm. And you know what? The more you get through something like that, the more you're able to take on more and defend it more and repair more and everything else more.
I will definitely try that. But what I would like to do, what we talked a little bit about Sunday, remember you were talking about they were shooting rockets up and they were exploding only so far up. Mm-hmm. Can you kind of share that again with us so I have a little better understanding and our people out there too?
Yeah. Well, first off, I'm not the rocket scientist here, but I can give you my analogy, what I think I observed from it. If there is force within any type of propulsion motor and it's restricted, then it would blow up. And that's what it seemed to have happened to this rocket that they were shooting at the Skinwalker Ranch to up in the air within an area of an anomaly that they know exists, but they don't know what it is. Through speed cameras, they were able to see something of substance, but couldn't make out what was there. So was it a UFO cloaking itself? Is it some type of energy field? Is it something coming down from, radiational components of the sun that only focuses on this earth in certain areas, this being one of them? Things were found under the ground as well. They drilled into, they found metal objects. When the drill probe was going in, it would redirect the probe around the scenario, the intrusion that it was hitting against. And it would make the drill bit go a different direction, like around it. So some pieces and fragments of metal came out, and it seemed like it was very highly sophisticated. First off, when we can go back 100 years on this property, and we know the history on it, that nothing should be there. But the further we go back, we don't know, I guess. Maybe 150 years we go back, we would still know nobody was there on that site manufacturing anything like this, but there's something buried on the ground. And the most fascinating part about it, as I tried to give a description, when you take two objects and you fuse them together, that's what it was. It was like two different types of metals, and they were like fused together. They didn't belong. They weren't made. They were not natural. They were done by man or by something, by someone. So we know there's something under the ground. Strange metal fragments are giving that, hypothesis. So what's going on in the sky? They're still doing tests. And look, almost every test that goes on down there has catastrophic failure in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So what I would say is the best thing to do for anybody out there that, has a little free time, follow it. Skinwalker, it's a storybook in itself of a lot of different types of information and validations. Is there some type of portal in the air that we don't understand exactly how they work? We have theories. We know high readings of this. We know how we get high readings of that. They are having high readings. They're talking about their readings. They're also talking about frequencies. And once you get above this frequency, then this anomaly happens. Once you stay behind under this frequency, then it's a more of a normality. So there's things that just don't make complete sense as of yet. But the history to the property comes with the tales of giant wolves, skinwalkers, Bigfoot, things that happen to cattle, and just a lot of unknown things. I mean, even where people that work there and these testing scenarios that they have put together to create the show with are getting sick and going to the hospital. It's almost like there's a giant microwave. And that's kind of the same thing that happens when they do these trails in the sky, chemtrails. It gets so absorbent hot because the point of the matter is, does it reflect the sun's light when they put these up there and they use their materials to dim in sun because they want to dim the sun from penetrating. But while that's also happening, what it's doing, it's creating a high humidity atmosphere, which causes higher pressure atmospheric content, which creates huge storms also. But it will make you feel like you're down in the tropics. That high,
Right.
really high humidity. You go outside and you just sweat bullets. So you have things like this going on. Is this possibilities that the United States government is doing things and has bigger involvements, and we're picking up on some of these anomalies from Skinwalker? I don't know. But so anyway, these rockets go up. Sometimes they go around the object. It's like they're guided. You shoot a rocket, it's supposed to go pretty much straight up. You can have an offset. It won't be that great. In this case, they are that great. They'll shoot off to a different, like, whoa, why is that happening? What would make that rocket do that? You fly a helicopter up there in that same vicinity, it runs into turbulence when there's no turbulence.
Oh.
So, in this case on the rocket where it had the implosion, the motor, to me, I think went up. It couldn't depressurize. It was a forced element of like something being stuck, and it just blew up.
Right.
It had no other recourse but to just blow up. Because it was like something was there, but we could not see it with our eyes. But again, the speed cameras did pick up on some type of anomaly of, I want to say, a white mist. I don't know if they'll use any type of, sophisticated camera people that do that kind of work to try to figure out what possibly this anomaly is, if they can create some type of pictures out of the pixels to say more. But yeah, so that's about all I can really put into it. Also, another fascinating thing, we're only inches away from what we don't know about at Oak Island.
You're reading my mind, dude. You're reading my mind.
Oh, so sorry.
That's okay, man. That means we're right there. Here's my deal on Oak Island. All right.
Okay. And if anybody else has a deal, bring it up.
Yeah, here's my deal on Oak Island. Now, I've been watching that since day one it started. Okay. And and they're finding all these different artifacts. They're digging and they're finding this and they're finding that. Now, here is my question. If they realize that somebody came here to the New America before Columbus, will they change it in the history books?
You're asking me?
No, I'm saying that's my theory. And then I would like to hear your input on what I just said.
Well,
could you change the history books? Would
they're
you?
not. They're never going to allow anything to change. I don't foresee them allowing anything to change. I mean, even though we're finding out the facts of truth, they'll just say somebody had an antique in their pocket and they dropped it. They'll come up with a narrative as to why it doesn't fit. But we do know on Oak Island that they are finding things that are very, very old. Not just tolls, not just dial pins and nails and things that hold or you use to build ships, but many other things, rock features, certain things that stand out that only the Templars would build.
Yep.
But there could be facts of earlier people that were there. There was bone fragments found from a man that would have been like Native American, I think a few years back, down in one of the core samples that they drilled for, just spot checking and the core samples they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
But now, having this new pit open and having these minor engineers going in there, it seems like there is in the water system, how they came to the conclusion that was their best spot. Everybody knows it already, was the high mineral content of gold and silver in the water.
Right.
So it was being picked up on. So this is what they're trying to do, I guess, before the end of the season. I think tonight it's actually on around 10 o'clock, something like that. I'm not sure. But, you can go on the channel and always watch it the next day if you're busy watching Sean and his last hour on Chasing Prophecy and his Into the Night segment.
Yes.
But nevertheless, I got to tell you, this place just keeps you on the hook somehow.
Yes.
And then you have the fascination of what? How many have to die before the treasure will be found?
Seven.
Yeah, lucky seven. Huh? Lucky seven.
Now, is that truly a curse, or did they just write that? I mean,
don't they call it the Curse of Oak Island anyway?
Yes, yeah, they do.
So,
7 people have to die in order to find the treasure.
And how many have died up to this point?
6.
At 6?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So who's next?
We don't know. That's what.
Let's see if we can get some bets going here. Some money flowing. No, you know what? These guys have really put their life into this. They love treasure hunting. They're involved with a lot of other different things and scenarios going on, and they do try to offer help to some of the people,
Right.
which is great. That's saying they have a true love and compassion for what they do in history. But I don't think they ever understood how lengthy of a learning process this was going to be on, and for all of us actually who sit back and watch it, because you're always on the end of your seats. What's going to be next? And that's just the way the island lets it happen. I mean, It doesn't matter where they work. But here's one theory I have: the way the Templars did things back in ancient times, and if they were working with some of the more brilliant Scottish builders, there's got to be a back door somewhere.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying, I think there's something hidden on that island to where everything they're doing right now is of importance, but they may not know it until, let's just say, they get down there and they can walk through something.
Right.
And then find the fact that there is something on that island that could have brought them in through a back door. Look, the Templars just didn't have one way in, seal it, it's done. The Templars, if they had to get in there to get it quick, they'd have never just, this is here forever, unless they were afraid of what they had, like the Ark of the Covenant or something like that, because we know that they actually were energy systems of something. Even the people that carried these boxes in ancient times had to have leg guards on.
I did not know that.
Oh, would you quit with I did not know that?
No, no, I did not know that. I'm
I
not going
did
to
not
quit when
know
I say
that.
that. But
Yeah.
no, right now, like I watch Oak Island every Wednesday night before I go to bed. I got that History Channel on my phone. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And the last 3 weeks, they found that real big hole, right? That they've been doing their anthropology stuff with it.
The Circle
Where,
of Stones.
yeah, wow, could that be the back door you were talking about?
There's always a possibility that
Yes,
something like that's there. I mean, look, even the old fellas that are now gone that started these processes and bought the lands up there that were living there that are now gone. Um, they the one gentleman had things mapped out. He knew. And here's what's really funny. Um, Travis from Skinwalker Ranch that's down there doing it. Like, first off, he's brilliant. He has backgrounds in all kind of educational components and master degrees and this, that, and science and more and astrology. He went up there and even gave them a layout to the stars and where they would have been that would have reflected certain elements of how the Templars could have done something or other people could have
right.
buried things by looking at the stars. And he was actually on Oak Island for that a couple years back.
I did,
So we
yeah.
all we can do is keep collecting the data. It seems that more people are getting involved, and I think it's come to the point now that people aren't looking for any kind of interest of the treasure. They just want to help because everybody is on the edge of the seat saying,
Yeah.
just like we are in America. When's this all going to be over? Same with I think Oak Island. What are you going to watch if Oak Island were to find this treasure? I think once the whole thing would be over and out, um, I don't know if anything could replace it.
Oh no, not at all. Um, oh, I just got lost for words. My mind keeps coming back to that circle stuff we were talking about earlier.
Well, they are
Um,
cool. I mean, they just are.
how about wasn't there a couple? I thought there was a couple kids claim that they actually made it themselves.
Yeah, but and there was a couple that did, and more than a couple. All right, there was a couple sets of people that said that they and they did, and they showed how they did it, but they were breaking the fibers to the plants and everything else, and they couldn't. No, they could not create the things that we are seeing.
Hmm.
Yes, could they do something? Could they create a circle? Could they, have a little artistic aesthetics here and there? Yeah, but they damaged everything doing it. They left footprints doing it. When we see these things and they're found in the mornings and so forth, or sometimes in a blink of an eye through an early evening, someone goes back at nightfall to check on the cattle grazing, and they come across them. It's like done like in a snap, and I don't know who's doing. Does the government? Very possibly, they do know the truth behind it, as well as other governments throughout the world. They all work together, man. When it comes to this
Hmm.
deep dive narratives of, and everybody has a Roswell. Everybody has this. Every country has a ufology program in place. Why? Is it all for money laundering or is there more to it? I mean, because we do look at the facts that governments look for ways to hide money, to do things, to give cash out for other purposes, you might want to say, or for the purposes that they're just, buying people's silence, maybe silences in many ways. I don't know. But all I know is they're too numerous. They're all over the place, and you can't have two people travel in the world to do this. Same with the cow mutilation, same difference. And now we're
Okay.
having problems again that we're having another. It seems to have, like, they come in waves. That we're also going through another wave of an epidemic of more right now, and I think Texas is one of the places going through it. Oh, so ciao, baby.
You're on the spot, but that's okay. I just had
That's
to.
yeah. That's all right. That's all right. You're probably getting the local weather forecast in order for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Let me
that's
say
what
this. I hope everybody's doing great out there tonight. We didn't have any guests. It was just me and Sean shooting the shit with you guys, getting to know
Yes.
you a little better, you getting to know me a little better. Do have a lot of impressive guests coming up in the very, very early future, and we're going to do the best we can to bring good content to you. Just even like tonight, just talking about general things that are fascinating. And these crystal skulls is another one. You know, one guy I think I can't remember his name off the top of my head, just because the topic came up tonight. But I think he found 3. And when you look at the fact of that, that's like the same when the guy, what was his name, Wait, or
Yeah.
something like that. They find the Noah's Ark and some of these other things, and one of the Arks of the Covenant. So he said, and he was doing lectures on them. It's fascinating how one person, it's like hitting the $1 billion lottery in your life. That you can find 3 of these skulls in your lifetime. And then, you know, it amazes me. It just really does. And then the fact that, you know, we don't know enough about them, but they seem to have energy and different sources of, I think it's made mention of technology, like downloading technology. Even though you can't see it, it was utilized as it. I don't know. It's speculation. I don't think anybody has proof on that, but I find them fascinating because everything like that when we learn about, where did this sophistication come from?
Well,
And
let me tell you that.
and they're so ancient, right?
Yes, they're from pre-Columbian Mesoamerican
Yeah.
artifacts. They were manufactured in the mid 19th century or later, almost certainly in Europe, during a time when interest in the ancient culture abounded.
Hmm. Well, is that misleading when they say that they were manufactured in the mid 1900s?
Yes, it is.
These
And this is,
artifacts are much older than that. Are we getting a Google bluff here?
yeah, we are. It's Wikipedia.
I don't know who to trust anymore. I know they're much older than that.
Hmm. Unless they're talking about the ones that everybody has that are hanging around, you know what I mean? I'm going to have to do some study into that. That's good. And give me something to do tomorrow for next week's show.
Yeah.
Talking about the crystal skulls. I have one, but it's not crystal. It is onyx. It's an onyx one. It's all black. Yeah. And it doesn't give me special powers or nothing like that, which claim that these skulls do. I think it's just it being a skull makes it a unique character to where people buy and they can actually go tell their friends that they have a crystal skull.
Yeah, it is. It does even get more interesting because they say when you find all 7 or something like that, I think it was 7, and you bring them together, there's something of a myth at bringing them all together. Something occurs. I don't know. We would have to look into what the talk of that is. And I'm all up for being able to do stuff like that. I just find it fascinating. I really do. Just like, you know, when people say Atlantis is lost, I think Earth is the Atlantis. I think the entirety of Earth is. I just think they you know, the focus got lost on it. But maybe I'm wrong. And the reason I say maybe I'm wrong is when we look at like the Perry Reese map. I mean, we're looking at a map on that's from the 1500s. Where we know he got information that was even older.
Mm-hmm.
So where did this ancient information older come from? And how did he get it? And where did it go? And the map's still out there. But it shows the Antarctic with no ice. And it's right on. According to the people that do this, I don't do this. I'm not one of these specialist people, but I do love the topics when we deep dive into this stuff. When you have scenarios like that, who are they referring to? Who is who? Where did this information come from? Who was here that long ago that could have witnessed it, that was making maps? These are the type of things that I say the rich
Now, oh, okay.
that the rich hide on us. It's all about the true history of Earth and life. I really believe that.
I just had a theory come up in my head. Theory could have came from the Anunnaki, dude. From what I've read up on the Anunnaki is that they used to come down
Hmm.
and talk to kings, and the kings would bring their scribes along with them, and they would write this down.
Well, they were the only kings of the earth in those
Or
days.
whoever was the boss of the people that they
That
got.
would be the Council of 12 that they had. Remember, they left here in 500 BC. That is
Mhm.
what is in the ancient text writing. Have they ever come back? How many did they leave? How many behind? And for what purpose? I don't know. And that's some of the other fascinating stuff that we now look at too. False flag invasions of aliens. I mean, like I said, these people that are planning all this stuff around us aren't bright enough to come up with every narrative that is now fitting into these places as components, of making everybody more crazy in life every day. But I mean, yeah, you could be right on that. Um, and another way to look at it too, I think, may be the fact that um, you know when they left, if there were certain kings and rulers through this council of 12 that I believe the text described, they couldn't be everywhere without travels like they had. Now, they may have still had flight capabilities, and there are some things that make suggestions that that's true. But people seem to know when they left because they went back to representations, idols, sculptures, things that always reflected to gods and the things that they've always seen. So all of it in a nutshell, still a lot of work to do. Even though we have a lot of the facts that really lay it out, um, there's always a little bit more substance there. Zachariah Stitchin was a rock star at it. Eric Von Daniken, also another one. A lot of people doing a lot of great work. I mean, even today, some of the biggest people that come up in front of us, where people spend, a couple $100 to listen to the lectures and stuff from them. They're well informed. They're well educated because they put their life into the focus of these circumstances that we all discuss. And I love the fact that that's out there. But everyone takes us a little bit down a path a little bit different way. Every book author does the same thing. They look at past references, past books, past informations. They create their own analogies out of it. I do the same thing. I'm guilty as charged. I do that all the time because that's who I am. I don't write a book on it. I could. I have the information where I could, but I can talk about it, and it's a lot easier. I
Mhm.
actually enjoy talking about the information with people one on one, or sometimes, like me and you right now,
Yeah.
versus if somebody wanted to call in to do it. So it is what it is. So anyway, as we said and we posted, I know you did that there, and that's only what you're doing is you posted that number on Facebook. It didn't go into all of them, did it?
Yeah, it went into every one of them. UFO, Facebook.
Oh, okay. Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. From where I'm sitting right now, I couldn't tell. So if anybody's on, you have something on your mind, you want to discuss Roswell, you want to discuss the Antarctic and the possibilities of life up there, and entering the South Pole and the North Pole and these big holes where the planes could fly into, the land of Agarthia, or let's say New Swaven, land up there where we know that breakaway civilization of the Germans went. Maybe they're all behind this, you know?
Good. You know what? That's interesting because weren't they really big into the occult and stuff like that back then when Hitler was
Everything.
involved? Yeah.
Yeah. They were involved with anything that could bring them information. They believed in spirituality and contact and dimensional beings as well as life after death. And in many ways, they had many people um, from their side of the world I would say. And we even had presidents that did the same thing, that took guidance from mediums to run a country. All you have to do is look it up. I know it sounds crazy,
Hmm.
it's factual. Just like the same that we have always been underground. What the fascination of being underground is sometimes um, so preponderous, but it's factual. I mean, there's shows on TV now where you can go and get into the deep dives of how widely used the underearth was, and
Hmm.
the caves and caverns and different things and scenarios. I mean, it's just mind blowing to me. It really is. Let me go fill my cup up. I'll be right back.
All
Don't go
right,
away.
brother. No, no, no. We don't want you to go away. Just to refresh people's memory, what we're doing is something new today on Chasing Prophecy. We're actually going 3 hours long. But on the third hour, coming up about 9 o'clock, we're going to do a segment of Chasing Prophecy. There's a little segment we put in there, Into the Night, where we talk a lot about paranormal activity, paranormal places to go visit, where spirits hang out, do spirits exist, and so please, like at 9 o'clock, we're going to take like a little 30-second break, and then we'll just get back right into the show again. I hope everybody's enjoying themselves tonight. Is there anybody that has any questions that they would like to tell us? Um, we'd like to hear from you. But like today, I do believe we were supposed to have a guest, and I guess he couldn't make it in. But so it's just me and Michael talking, whatever, like I said, what's going on in the world today. Pat O'Griff, thank you for coming and joining the show. Who else we got up here? Facebook user. That's River. Hi, River. Good to see you again. I hope you're still hanging in there. Victor, thank you. Tony, uh, Joe, welcome, man. Jolene, thank you, thank you, thank you. But just remember, though, at 9 o'clock, we are going to take a 30-second break, and we'll get into the segment of Into the Night through the Chaser Prophecy show.
We're gonna play some music for everybody. Hey, somebody asked me on the sidebar, why don't you, Michael Anthony, ever talk about rock bands? Who do you want to talk about? If you want to bring up
Yeah.
topics on that, hey, I'm all down for it. I love old music. I love new music. I don't love all music, but I have respect to the artist. I truly do.
Mhm.
But yeah, that's a nice way to go off onto a topic. It doesn't quite fit what we do all the time, but
Right.
it's a break from the element. I can't wait to do it. Get dedication to Art Bell. I mean, one of the most phenomenal minds out there.
Hmm.
Just a brilliant conspiracy theorist. That's what I call him. I don't care if people don't like me for saying it, but I mean, look, he had his own theories and opinions, and that's what we all have, and that's what makes us all stand out.
Right.
But nevertheless, if you'd like to call in from somewhere out there in Radio Land, you may do that at 1-724-954-1193. Get into the unknown and conspiracies and governmental blah blah blahs with us tonight, if you like to.
Hmm.
The lines are open. Nevertheless, if you don't, it's fine. What's next week though? What is today's date? Why am I?
Today is the 9th of May.
There you
Next week we have the 16th, and I am really looking forward to our guest next week, because I did watch a show that you had on with that he was on your show, and it was pretty interesting. And I would not mind, if you know anybody, I would like to go on the Bigfoot investigation.
We can do that right up in Carnes. It's
Hey,
right
there's
up
your buddy. There's your bussy. Bussy.
my bussy.
Your
Hey,
bussy. Russell, how you doing, buddy? Russell Easterbrooks. He just showed up. Welcome, guy.
yeah, he might have been taking a nap or something.
But then again, seriously, I'd like to go do a Bigfoot investigation and just go out in the woods. And I have a story to tell you about that. My friend Jeannie and her husband Matt, they live down in West Virginia,
Mm-hmm.
And I spent the night, and one morning we were there having coffee, and on my dad's grave, man, we heard a real loud knock, and nobody was around. A real loud knock. And they live like on top of a mountain around a lake, and a lot of woods, a lot of woods. But the knock came, and I was like, "Oh my God, that's Bigfoot!"
Right.
Right, right.
No, I'm sorry. I'm just
I'm joking with you. I'm joking with you.
that's,
I'm joking with you, man.
don't rush to worry. It's not a worry. The thing about it is you never know who's all in the woods. That's the craziest part. You go into them, you can think you're alone, but you might have other people that are somewhere, distant but not so distant, and you can always pick up on their activities, maybe not their voices in some way. I don't know if we ever know everything, but I know one thing. I know Russell should be bringing some of the discussion into place tomorrow when we go live at 1:00 on the DNA and the naming of Sasquatch and so forth that Melba Ketchum has come up with. And I have spoken to her recently and offered to help her if she comes up in need in any way to further more of the work, because it's quite expensive. And I told her I would be there for her if she needed anything. And I'm also hoping to shortly that she has some time and she'll be able to come on the show. It's always best to hear right from the rock star's mouth. That's the way I look at it. When we go to a concert, we want to see the real band, not the wannabe band. Sometimes though, the openers turn out to be better than the rock stars themselves, and that's just how life is. It works that way. But I can't wait till tomorrow to talk to Russell about this, because there's some things I have been missing working on the house and just going through typical things in life. But I do know a lot, but Russell's an expert when it comes to the investigational work. And I'm just looking forward to tomorrow afternoon with him and Ernie. Getting Ernie to describe his encounter again will be fascinating as well. But besides that, is there anything planned for the third hour that we should tell everybody, or no? Did you have anything planned?
Well, I had
How do
planned
you
for.
want to head into that?
What's that?
How do you want to head into that?
Well, I'm going to hit the 30-second, little thingy, and then we'll just go in and say, welcome back to this new segment.
Yeah. Welcome back. We're still here.
Yeah. And
we're not going anywhere. We got 3 hours. You're doing something right when they offer you 3 hours.
Yes.
That's all we can say. Something must be good out there. I don't know. But real Bigfoot stories and encounters, maybe we can talk about some of that, or
paranormal.
Yes, paranormal.
Oh, I have, I came up with two, was if you have any questions, a question and answer session too. We'll talk a little bit about paranormal, Bigfoot, whatever. But if you have a question for either of us about the paranormal, about Bigfoot, whatever, please, put your question into the chat room, the chatterbox.
There you go.
And we'll get to you.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I wonder what's on Russell's mind. I bet you he's looking forward to tomorrow. I bet you him and Ernie are looking forward to it. We have great times together when we come on and do those shows, though, because, there's just so many more involved. And I'm not saying that we always talk about the right topics when we bring them up. There are some things that may be hard to believe, but there's things going on out there, and there's too many people that just can't be wrong.
Right.
I'm not saying that there couldn't be some things out there that are inflated, we'll just say, but I just can't believe that so many people could be wrong. And Melba Ketchum's information and some of her new theories on what's going on should be able to also shed some light to that. But it's not just Bigfoot. It's Dogman. I mean, I did a show with Nick Valente. This man, military Delta, he saw this thing in front of him. He stopped, got out of his vehicle. He wasn't sure what was going on. And his description to me. And in it, he said that this dog man was eating a deer
Oh,
at a stop sign, and it was huge. I got to get a spider. I got a visitor. 1 sec, I really do.
you got a visitor.
A spider.
A spider. I like spiders. Spiders are good.
Yeah, I don't think them.
Yeah, just throw it outside. Let it live. How about everybody out there listening to our show? Do you like spiders? Spiders are magical insects. That's what I say.
I think everything on this earth has an importance that maybe we don't always understand.
Right.
I mean, really, if you look at it, how do you take this beautiful planet? You know, you see beautiful beaches and waters and crystal clear this and white sands and tan sands and, you know, just nature in its best ways and vast lands of trees and forestry. And, you know, it's just amazing, impressively amazing. And then you have all these different species. And I know they say we lose so many species a day. It's hard to actually, you know, think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think in ways, if they were here, they all play an important part. Somehow, even if we don't understand it, there must be something important behind it. Otherwise, you know, they wouldn't have been here from the beginning. And then it makes you wonder also, how did they survive through all these catastrophic events that we've had 5 of them that history shows? Is it because they come from the underworld too? You know, these other unknown areas that people talk about that exist. We know we have our own through government, military, industrial complex, government. You know, the hidden cities, but we don't even know the vastness of it. When you really look, and we're not even a big planet. I mean, there's planets out there way bigger than we are.
Right.
But when you look at it, it's just so impressive. And I think at one point, making a point, was Elon Musk, I think, said, we could give everybody an acre of land in Texas and we could house the whole world in Texas. So that tells you the immensity of what we are. And so many things could be hidden that we don't understand. And I bet you there's still a lot of treasure out there hidden that nobody even talks about, you know?
Mm-hmm. True.
I like to find some of that just because it's fun. You know, I do have a metal detector.
Let's go.
I do take it into the woods when I go. I'm not joking.
Let's follow a creek. Follow a creek. We'll find the gold.
Well, I don't know about that in Pennsylvania, but
we do have gold. Dude, we do.
I know it's been said that we do, and I have a spot.
I caught some.
Oh, did you?
Okay. Yeah, I got some gold. Oh, yeah.
It wasn't fool's gold, right?
It was not fool's gold.
Okay, you know how to tell the two apart?
What's that?
Do you know how to tell?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. No, it was not fool's gold.
I have a pinpointer, too.
Those are nice. That's on my next. But listen, we are going to take 30 seconds and we're going to get.
Is it that time?
It's, yeah. See how fast time? It's 8:58. So we're going to take 30 seconds.
I just want to say thanks to everybody. I hope we spoke on some things of interest to you. I know we didn't get into this big rhythm, but it was a good way for me and Sean to get to know each other too. Yep. And that'll help us in future shows together as well as conversing with you guys. But if you have any topics, you still will be able to post them. If you want us to talk about them, types of guests you want, please let us know, and we will do our best to make sure that we provide that to you. Just leave us a message on what's on your mind, what you like the most of, and we will make sure these types of functions of shows exist here. Go ahead, Sean. Get into the night.
All right. We're going to do 30 seconds, and then we'll be right back. Do not leave. and welcome back. This is the segment of Into the Night with Sean Kelly and Michael Anthony. And the third hour that we got going on, we're going to talk everything. Is it beyond the normal? Do ghosts exist? The equipment that we use, or that you use, that go out on investigations with, do you trust them?
Yes.
Okay, as you heard Michael in the back, he said yes. So do I. I do trust them, and it's really cool to have equipment when you're on the investigation, because you can actually tell if there really is something there. What's really cool is whenever you get somebody who's he got his metal detector.
Oh, you saw it.
Yeah, I saw it coming a mile away.
This is a badass.
Wouldn't it be crazy if they could come up with a metal detector to find a ghost? Or
We have those.
how about
Well,
the
an SOS camera.
yeah? I'm kind of like on the limb with those SOS cameras. You know, I've seen them work before and I've seen them crawl, but to be honest with you, I'm kind of like on the fence with them. Oh, okay. So as he is doing this, I'm going to be talking paranormal, and so all right, put the toy down. Let's go.
I'm ready.
So-
I'm ready.
So what I want to talk about is this past Saturday.
Yeah, I knew you were going to do that. That's really
You know
cool.
it. Yes. This past Saturday, we had the opportunity, me, Mike, and his wife, got to go with the Oakmont Paranormal Society down to the Ross House in Bel Air, Ohio. We were invited as guests. And I haven't really been on an investigation for a long time, so it kind of like felt pretty good, you know, to go and experience it all over again. Like I tell you every week that, or whenever I talk about it, that I've gone on a lot, many, you know, and so it kind of like put a sparkle in my eye, knowing that it's still hanging around. So we went to the Ross House, and as we were investigating with the Oakmont Paranormal Society, Drake Bowman's group, you know, me, Michael, and his wife went out on our own, and we have experienced a lot of good connection with the spirits that were there. And Michael, would you like to share a couple of those with our people here?
Oh, wow. I tried to do my best with the camera thing. Okay. I intend to do that at the one before we go live at Darks, to try to give everybody a little bit of a description of where we're at, what's going on, whether we're stargazing for UFOs in a couple of the hot spots, or whether it's you know, in search of the ghosts and paranormal that way, or searching Bigfoot. I'll always try to do something like that. But I thought we found some really, you know, got some really good validation a couple times. Still a lot to find out. Also found out that there was a figure on the SOS camera system from upstairs that I think Mike from Cheswick picked up in one of the rooms. We had some luck with the cat balls and the
That was great.
the K2 meters. So, I mean, all in all, it's hard to share with anybody when you really get some type of contact. And I do believe that things exist because I've witnessed things that exist. I've had things happen in my life, and that's why I go down these roads of, you know, the phenomena of I need to know about everything. You know, it's just fascinating to me. But I mean, you know, when we were asking questions and we were getting responses a couple times, you know, it was fascinating. And for a while, we had like an ongoing conversation with the K2. It did peak at sometimes as well, where it went to complete red. So something was near us. Something was close. The one thing I will say is, A lot of people say they always felt cold. I never felt cold.
Mhm.
We checked the area to make sure that we were away from any other electronic type of things that could, you know, uh, conflict with the evidence. But I think we, in both case scenarios, when we were in the upstairs room above the antique store, the front of the antique store, we contacted something. I don't know what. I don't know if we had enough clarity to it, but you felt it was a little girl.
Yep.
I wasn't sure myself. I don't have that type of feeling,
Right.
to where I could say I know I'm feeling a girl. But there was a point in time also when you weren't with me that I felt was smelling a perfume.
Okay.
And it didn't make sense to me. It's in the video. It's in one of the videos actually. And then when I left you and Twig in the lower room, and I went up into the dark side above the antique store, I asked the entities the most gracious way you can, if you can in any way show us you're here. Would you find a way to do that and use your energy by knocking, making a noise, letting us hear your voice? And I came back into the room right after saying that, and it correlates because you're on film while I'm doing it.
Right.
When I took that little walk, just moments before it, I came back. You guys were telling me you took a picture and you found orbs in the picture. I
Yes.
saw like a blue something and a red something also on the floor. And after that, when I turned the lights on, I went over to the carpet. When I saw that in the picture that was posted in America Disclosing, there was nothing on the floor. It was just like a blue-gray carpet, and it was clean.
Now, were we the only ones up there, or was there another group up there?
Yeah, we had that whole floor to ourselves.
Okay.
Drake gave us the whole building while the other teams went everywhere else. They gave us the freedom to go anywhere we wanted to, which that was beautiful that he did it. Nothing more delicious than having the place to yourself, so to speak.
Oh
You
my
know what I
God!
mean?
Yeah. Exactly.
And we did, but I know for a fact if you go and you really listen to the information, you'll see where I went upstairs. I was doing some visuals in the dark, trying to see if I got a vibe or any smells or any cold spots. And I did like a rotation through the rooms up there. And as I came back down those steps into the big hall that we turned the lights off to, that's where you guys captured the one picture that had the orb in it. But I think we had a couple other things right below that orb. Now there's also one other thing that's kind of interesting about where that orb was. That orb was right around a price tag that was hanging on a, I think it was a dining room type of cabinet tree,
Okay.
or a piece of furniture, excuse me, that would have went with a dining room set. And it to me, I started thinking after I saw it the next morning, which, by the way, I still have my gift. I can't do it from here. No,
He got his gift from the Ross house.
Here, I'll take a picture of it right now. I didn't even know that this happened, in case Drake's listening to this, as I didn't really discuss it with anybody. I didn't realize it until I got home when I took off my pants.
That's what usually happens, dude. You don't realize it.
Yeah.
But did it burn? Did it burn?
No, that's the whole thing. It never did.
Hey, look who it is.
Can you? Yeah. Hey, can you take a picture
Hey,
of this?
hey, Kim.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Everybody, this great. Everybody, this is Kimberly, and this is Michael's daughter, and she is young and honest to God, she is one happy-go-lucky ghost hunter. You know what I mean? And we had her on the show last week, I do believe it was. And honest to Pete, you know, like I was telling a lot of people, my age, who have been doing it for such a long time, who really can't stay out to the wee hours of the morning anymore. But we have Kimberly here, and she's young, and she's really excited about investigating. And so I'm glad you're on the show tonight.
I'm glad to be back.
So, how was your interview on our show? How did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I thought it was really good, and I like that Jordy was able to tune in. I'd like to be able to get her in here with you guys at some point.
We can do that. See the scratch marks, everybody. He got scratched. I bet, you know what? Oh, wow. It just opened my mind. It could have been the cats that were hanging around her, because that is awful kind of low. You know what I mean? The spare cats.
Look, I never felt anything. I want to be clear. Right. I didn't even realize it till I got home. And like I said, I took off my pants and something about it just said rub there. And I did. And I was like, it wasn't bloody. It was drying. But I thought I felt the wetness. And I looked down and I was like, what the hell's this? So I thought to myself, okay, look in your pants. See if there's anything and there was a couple little dots in my pants. And I was like, that happened when I was there.
Yeah.
But I never felt it happen. Never did I feel it.
Usually you don't. People don't feel it happening. They usually feel it like whenever, like 30 minutes later, and then they start looking at it. But if you really get like pretty messed up, and I have some pictures I'm going to show you later of people in my group getting scratched like that. But so how about you, Kim? Have you ever gotten scratched or kicked, punched, bit, anything on the?
I've been scratched quite a few times, and I usually only notice it because my skin starts burning. I've had a few happen here in the house, and I've had them happen in my old house on investigations. So
now, when you got these scratches, were you kind of like manipulating the spirit at the time?
I don't like to be like that. Like, I don't like to go in with a tactic like I'm going to yell at the ghost and try and rile them up for attention. Like, you were still a person at a point, so I'm going to talk to you how I would normally. But instances where it's been in my house, I was just playing a game before, and I looked down, and I have 3 burning scratches on my arm. And then there was a time when I first moved back in here that Layla was, like, staring into the kitchen, barking at something, and I looked down at my leg, and I have, boom, scratch.
Well, Sean got to be here because he offered to pick me up on Saturday, and I don't talk about this a lot publicly, but I shared some things with you and Drake. Right. Drake and me have plans at some point to spend an evening here, probably with you and you, but where those pictures were taken, as I expressed to you where they exactly were when you came.
Right.
Just those whatever was manifesting, I don't know to this day. Yeah, the ones with all the faces in the one. When you look at it, it's like, wow, that's just craziness. As well as, experimenting with the orbs, and they started to intelligently come over to me. Like they actually act. Even at one point I says, move the curtain for me, and one went over to the curtain.
Yeah, they really like my room. Are we surprised?
Why is that?
She must bring shit home. I don't know.
I don't know, because I remember a point when we remodeled the room for when my sister was going to be in there, when she was having her first kid. And I remember the pictures you took of like the walls and everything, and like there'd be a couple orbs here, a couple orbs there, and then the wall with the cross had like a zillion of them right there.
Yeah.
Huh.
But I think that room's like always been a powerhouse for something, but it's different when you have, I guess, somebody with like my kind of energy in there.
Right. So that would tell me that there is like a very strong portal there, would you say?
I don't know. The only thing I can tell you is the window that I pointed to.
Yeah.
It's the one they love coming in and out of. You could sit there and film them coming in and out of it. And sometimes a lot of them, I'll just say, a lot of them. And here was one of the things that I thought about. prior to me buying, renovating, and all this stuff many moons ago, there was a story to the house that a lady lived here, and she used to raise birds and sell them to the like 5 and 10s and stuff. You remember like the old Murphys 5 and 10s? You go to the back when you were a kid, you always went and looked at the birds or the fish.
Yeah.
That's where you find pets like that, the little dollar turtles and stuff. Everybody wanted to have one. And they were the cool things, you know, because we were just learning about life. Anyway, she supplied these birds to them. And it's sometimes, you know, I'll bring that into the theory when I'm talking, like, are they like birds that didn't make it or something? Because the vastness and the immensity of how many sometimes come on camera, it's like, is it possible that they are not a human energy, but an animal energy or a bird like energy that has no clue that they've gone? I don't know. But it was pretty weird a couple times that I did videos. One, I can't find where the hell it is. It's on one of my units where I actually had my hand like this, and they were coming right to the middle of my hand, dropping on my hand. I never felt anything. There was one time I thought I felt like an energy zap. Like I actually had like a light electrical anomaly occur on my hand. And that was it. That was the only time. But anyway, living where I live in a place called Indian Rock, it may have a whole different similarities of interest that could reflect and could give good reason as to why we experience this here, as well as the fact right above me is Fort Vesuvius, which was a military installation in the early days. And a lot of people don't even know that there was one up there right above Pittsburgh, right above the Allegheny River. And the soldiers used to walk in a path. I used to see shadow figures go by my front window. I'd be in the kitchen, I'd be doing something, and out the window, I would see like a shadow figure. And I would say to Kim or the kids or Twig, hey, who's in the front yard? And, you know, or was I just meant to see them? I don't know. Everybody do their investigation. Everybody go look and say there's nothing there. But it happened too many times. It just, but never any violence unless, but I know one thing, when I'm not here, she really doesn't care to be here.
Okay, I understand. Let me ask you this. Now I know up in Gettysburg, especially Little Round Top over there, where they have the 20th Main statue, there are times during the summer that I'll go out there, you know, just about dusk. Okay, the sun will be like going down dusk, and I can actually smell gunpowder there coming up the hill. Do you smell any like that wherever you're at? Do you smell anything like that?
Oh, you mean up here?
Yeah.
I can't say that I have.
I don't think so.
No drums, no nothing like that?
No, well, there was a couple times that I thought I heard. I'm not going to lie to you. I thought I heard drums, but I do know that there's a young kid around the corner who plays drums. And would he have been playing at 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning? I don't know. Maybe he caught a buzz. He was doing something.
I personally hear voices. Like voices are communicating more than anything else.
Yeah. I know I was doing a live show on here, and it was daylight behind me. Now, there's a window directly behind me, and right over there, I have like a pond with a big fountain in it. And, I was watching the next day after my live. I was doing a political thing. I saw something go past the window in it. That I have on film.
Okay.
You know where I live.
Right.
Who the hell would come back here?
No one.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and I own all the adjacent properties, 3 properties down up.
Right.
And I own the whole cul-de-sac. And it's a big area. It really is. It takes a lot to cut the grass and everything to take care of it. It's like a park up here. And I don't know. I just know I caught it. It made me turn around on camera to look. And later I went and looked and I saw something walk. And then an anomaly, something walked past the window.
Well, that was like that one video you made. I think you took it down, and that don't remember if it was like a Halloween video or what, the one that you did with that mask. And I remembered watching it because you could see a shadow.
I remember you
something was
talking about
moving
it.
on this side.
Yeah,
And I remember pointing it out. I'm just, what's going on?
I remember it.
See, now she's the rock star, Michael. She's the rock star. On
Yeah,
this
but you know
stuff.
what? I actually forgot about that one. That
That one was
occurrence.
that one was a little creepy because you were just trying to do like a little promo with
Yeah.
like Halloween music and stuff, and not even knowing that there's something right here. You're just working like, hey, I'm the special guest over here.
Yeah.
I will tell you this though, if I can make a recommendation on equipment, and I've used these for a very, very long time, and those are trail cams. Have you ever heard? Trail cams are like deer cameras. Okay, where
Yeah.
you set it out in the woods.
Yeah, we have.
Set them up, and just turn them on. Set it on video, and let
Yeah.
them go. And just let
Especially
'em go.
like I don't want to do the universal comment that like basements are creepy, and like to this day, like I'm going to be 26, okay, and this basement when I'm by myself, like it still gives me the heebie-jeebies a little bit. Like
That's okay.
it's just always been like my experiences down here, like it's always been voices, or I feel like something's behind me or something's watching me, and it doesn't feel bad, but it's always so strong. It's a little overpowering sometimes. And I know, like, as a kid, this used to be my play area, and I always had to have TV or something playing to kind of like tune it out.
Right.
But the last time that I did something down here, me and my mom actually did a spirit box down here, and we were recording it because we were just like using the dolls that used to be at my grandma's house, trying to see if we could like talk to her and anything. And like we had something coming in through the spirit box, like growling. Like it was honestly kind of
Really?
creepy. I'm like,
we could probably connect it up right now, and you'd probably get something.
yeah, I can actually.
No, it's not a joke. It's just how frequent.
Go for it. Go for it.
I
just-
don't have my phone on me.
It's just how frequent. Oh, yeah, she says she's not prepared right now, but I mean, that's nevertheless. I mean,
There's plenty of stuff that I can send you. Don't worry.
Well, let me ask you this. What is your opinion on the growling that you hear?
I don't know. It's like when it happened, it was kind of surprising. Like we just looked at each other in shock, and we were like, "Oh my god, did we just hear it growl?"
let
Okay.
me give you an example of my life, because you don't know anything really when it comes to like what I deal with in this house. The 3 o'clock wake up call all the time. It's either 3:33 or 3 o'clock, and I mean, I might be woken up like a minute before, but in the wake up, by the time I think to look, when I look, it's always that number, numerology. Where do I sleep?
In the living room,
Or
the den,
where?
on the floor.
Did you hear her?
Yeah.
And I have a reason why I do it.
Hmm.
They know that I am the block between whatever the hell it is that goes on here.
Okay.
I know it sounds strange and weird, but when
No,
I
it
did
isn't. It honest to God, it's not. It's
I
not
don't
weird.
sleep in the bed. I sleep on the floor, and I do it for the purpose of, whatever this activity is so strong at, as whatever it is, and I don't know what it is. And you know what? It doesn't even matter to me because I challenge it out. And since I did address it differently through consciousness,
Right.
I don't have an issue with it. I
Okay.
see things, but I don't see things the way I used to,
Right.
because I don't want this to be the place that I have to live like that. I want to go to the places that have that issue. You got to. There's ways to fight back. Sometimes you have to.
You have to, and you know what? If you could sit down and just like talk to them and say, "Hey, listen, I don't mind you having the house until about 11 o'clock at night, but how about from 11 to 6 in the morning? You know what? Leave us alone so we can sleep." And I'm telling you right now, it works.
I've done it.
Yeah,
It didn't work.
works.
Well, for me, it didn't. I get where you're coming from. I did the confronting like that. I did the salts. I did the metals.
The salt and the
I used
sage.
black.
The salt and the sage to me is just a band-aid, dude.
Yeah, what does is upset them too.
Yeah, you gets rid of them for a day, and then they come back after it wears off, and they come back in with a vengeance.
Well, I think what we have here, that what's going on was confusion, not by me, from I don't know why this is the topic of the show tonight, but that's fine.
Okay.
But you know, it is what it is. I think we're talking about possibilities of lost spirits, possibilities of a couple dead soldiers, and I can't answer for Indians or not. I can't. Sometimes when I find a feather on the front porch, then I sometimes wonder, because it shouldn't be there, especially a big white feather, things like that signify the bald eagle or the owl that crosses over. There's some of the stories or myths there. They talk about the raven. This place attracts the blackbirds in the fall like you would never believe. You would think there was a horror story going on in the middle when fall starts. How the blackbirds come out.
Ravens or blackbirds?
Well, I call them the blackbirds.
Okay.
The ravens. Yeah. Aren't they the one that the Indians say can cross between the worlds?
I think so.
Okay. Well, I'll get 150 of them out there. Wah, 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 all over. I'll go. You have to go outside.
Here's what you should do. Here's what you should do when they're out there. Sit out there with them and talk to them.
I've been through all that.
Do it again. Do it again. You'll be surprised. Every time there's 3 ravens that hang around me all the time. 2 here at my house, 1 at work. Okay. The 2 here in the morning when I go to work, they start cawing. And I know they're saying hello to me. Right. And then I get to work and there's the 3rd one right where I park all the time, calling at me. And I'm like, okay, fine. Good morning. And then I go on with my day. But back to the growling. I believe whenever anybody hears growling on an investigation or anywhere, right, I believe it's the spirits that are actually mimicking a growl in order to scare people. Yes.
That's like, they can mimic your voice.
Oh, yeah.
We know that there are capabilities that there's enough data that supports that. It's pretty unusual, but it does occur. So, yeah, maybe in ways these correlate together in some fashion. I don't know. I mean, I can only express some of the things stories that I've talked about, and I don't know why they've occurred around me, why I've seen the things, why you've seen that UFO with me. We don't know these things, but we're surrounded by it, because she was the one that was with me when that went on, when that thing discharged all them really pretty color. I thought they were really cool looking. And she's just like, what the hell was that? And I was like, what did you say? But you know what? The weirdest part is in that moment, I mean, I knew in my head what I was thinking. I didn't want to tell her, like, oh my God, Dad, we're going to be abducted. So I kept my mouth shut a little bit, but I was also thinking about it, but didn't come to any conclusion until one day I turned on the TV and I was sitting there watching some stuff, and this MUFON show was on, and they said they were in Pennsylvania. And I was like, oh, fascinating. Cool. I want to watch that. And I did. And these 2 other ladies on 2 different properties, 30 to 40 miles from me, saw the same things, but saw the outlines of the crafts and saw the discharge of that Keller. Same Keller. It was like a green molten, pretty sparkly 4th of July looking firework coming down. And yes, I did the investigation. A 90-year-old guy on the other side who was in bed at 8 o'clock every night. And then the other guy's even older with his wife across the other side of the road. So there's nobody there. I mean, we own the whole one side down. And then there's a big vacant vaulted parcel of ground Nobody was living across the street at the
Mhm.
time. And yeah, it was just bizarre, man, to see that. And again, I never knew what I was looking truly at. I was only assuming, could this really have been one? And that's what I was thinking. And then when I saw the MUFON show, it just told me everything I needed to know. Here's the more stranger thing: same time frame.
Really?
Yeah, it was the same time frame. It was like within
Wow.
like a couple weeks, all kind of sightings of the same type of typical occurrence. And MUFON was up there taking samples of the trees and everything, and the grounds and everything else. They did not do that on my property because I failed to call them. I was still in my own mind trying to figure out, like I always do, be an expert at nothing, research everything. And when I do that, the information just comes to me. And that MUFON show that day, for whatever reason, I was supposed to see that.
Okay. We need another show, or I'm gonna call you up one day when I'm not tired, and we'll talk about it, because I have some stuff I want to share with you that might help you out a little bit. Seriously, I've been through there, but I don't know. But that Saturday at that investigation, well, I really wish you would have came, Kim, because you would have had a good time, honestly. Now, this question is for you guys and everybody out there. Do you all think spirits are real? Or are they a figment of your imagination?
I think they're a mixture, my opinion. I think they're a mixture of good and bad. And these things do exist. Yes, I do believe that there is life out of body that exists through consciousness, energies of consciousness. That's only my opinion. That's why I like what I do, and like why I enjoy the things I do with it.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
I mean,
Yeah.
I fully believe that they exist. I always have. You get the good, you get the bad, you get the ugly. And I mean, there's just so many things. It's just trying to, look through the looking glass and figure out what's what.
Okay. Our
But
friend
remember, this is coming from a girl who was down at the guy with the glasses' museum. I'm joking. Hey, you know what? She talks to who she talks to, and she's friends with who she's friends with.
right.
And she had an invite, like a personal invite to come down. So, a lot of people would have jumped on it.
Yeah.
Kim talks to some nice people and intelligent people. And the one show that I really like that Cindy's on with, I want him to check it out. Who's the show that Cindy was working with?
Is that Taps?
Dave?
Yeah, Dave Schrader.
Yeah.
Dave Schrader and Cindy. They really, and they do a lot of the Hoosier Files.
But specifically, I'd say what show, because they have quite a few now.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Plus, he's been at Monshasta. A lot of people don't realize but the young Dave used to go out and do a lot of footwork on ufology, Bigfoot, Dogman, and a lot of.
He was on.
He was into all the paranormal.
He was on the. I can never think of the name when I talk about them. Paranormal State.
Yeah.
The ghost hunting show that was done from Penn State. Yeah. He was on that with them. He used to some of the UFO investigations, some of the paranormal investigations, he used to be on them, and they're like 20 years ago.
Yeah, that's been a long time. That real long time. Jolene says she knows that there are spirits. Yeah.
Well, look at her experiences that she was talking about the other night when she was kind enough to come on with us. I think says it all about that for sure. But it's up to people, and I think when people believe the possibilities exist, they're going to always be that much closer to the experiencing of them. I think it's like an open door. You can be negative to the world and have negative impact of thought, and you can push things back in ways. But if you're open to them, you may receive. It's just, and I think these energies somehow understand what we are about in these moments. We must give off something that they detect.
Mhm.
and they utilize that to maybe get closer to us in some instances, some cases, or possibly just fade through the wall and go elsewhere. I don't know. But I would say that depends upon what type of spirit you're dealing with too. And some spirits are, have never been human. You have to look at some of that. And what really are they? And I mean, we could come up with so many things. Just like, we come up with the
Dude, sorry to bother you, but there was a shadow just went right by in the back here.
that's okay.
But no, I'm just saying it just went right, like right neck underneath the 10 is where it went.
It's
That was cool as hell. That was cool as hell.
it's what I live with.
I love it. It's great. So
It doesn't bother me. I could come down here in the dark in the middle of the night and sleep on the floor here. I don't care. I let them know it's my domain, but they're welcome as long as they're,
respectful.
remain harmless to anybody.
Now it comes to another question that I like to ask you too, and my people out there listening to the show. Do you think that they are out there to harm people?
I'll let you answer.
I don't think all spirits are out there with any like ill or malicious intent. Some of the stuff that I've learned is, how spirits act in the afterlife is a reflection of how they acted when they were alive.
Mhm.
So, like, if you're a good, kind-hearted person and whatnot, like, you're gonna be like that in the afterlife. If you were somebody that used to like bully or target people or like harass people and stuff, I feel like those are the ones that like really try and get your attention or try and like fight you for the space that you're in. And then you have the really bad ones. So I think it's a big like swimming pool and a mixture of how things can be. And I just think there's just so many levels to it, and it's just trying to figure out what all it really is.
And I'm going to ask you another question since we didn't really have enough time to conduct your interview last week. But what is your final goal that you want to do with paranormal investigating? What is your final, ultimate, top it up type of thing?
I mean, I really just like to investigate and, give the spirits their voice. Like if something happened to them where they passed away wrongfully, and help them get their voice out as to what happened. And, like some spirits are very restless because their stories aren't told and they continue to try and do it, but a lot of people don't understand that that's what they're trying to do. So giving them a voice, and also I really just want to be able to try and communicate with them and figure out what life is really like on the other side and what it is that keeps them here instead of crossing over. Like I want the answers that they don't really give you on TV.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was trying to ask some of those questions when you were with me. Like, we didn't know what we were talking to, I guess, a couple times, but trying to find that, like, I threw in a couple of the unusuals. I call them the unusuals, where you do it. What's it like where you're at? You never hear that question being asked on TV. You just don't.
No.
I'm the one that will ask those unusuals, and that's one of the more fascinating ones that I like to get documentation on that I never can. But again, I've never got close in contact except for hair, but I don't know how to get them to give me the answer, because when I make a really good contact, it's in the pitches of black of the night, and I know they're around me. I know it's like right behind. It's like you get the chills, not the creeps, not the chills, the creeps. You just know it's there. And it's the middle of the night. What am I going to do? Start running for the bag and pull everything out and start, okay, what's it like over there? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't do that.
If I can make a suggestion to you, bring Kimmy along when you go on investigation, sit there and either you ask the questions and let her listen to the EVPs, you know,
Yeah.
and
I
that
like doing the Estes method. They like talking to me real bad through the spirit box. They don't even shut up. I gotta tell them like slow down, talk
Yeah.
one at a time. Like other people will do it and they won't get anything, and then I go on there and they literally don't stop.
Like
well, yeah,
last week after you guys were on a show together, she went upstairs and started doing it.
mhm,
And our neighbor who died that I bought the property from next door, that real big house that was
yeah,
next to us,
mhm.
he was coming to her,
Wow,
talking to her.
Yeah, and he was telling us that.
But he also lived here when he was a very young boy,
Yeah.
before they ever could afford that.
Yeah, but he was like talking about how he misses his hangout spot at VFW and just wants to get another beer. Like,
And
Oh, really?
the
Yeah.
truth of the matter was, that's who he was in life. So that was all the validation we needed last week, that night. So, like I said, I really don't have to go anywhere to see them. It could be daylight, it could be dark. But I also have experienced that just leaving here to go elsewhere. And it's not like, I don't say I'm a magnet. I just say when I do try, things happen. Maybe not always good, but enough to give you that taste to come back. Like,
Right.
that was interesting. But again, I never had dealt with anything in heavy demonic, nothing like that. I just never did. I don't know. Maybe they know better. I don't know. But
there's
you
like
know,
I said, we'll have some coffee, and then I'll explain and help you explain what the heck's going on. I don't know if I asked you this question. This is for the both of y'all. What was your most frightening experience you had ghost hunting?
I never had a frightening experience. I calm myself and keep myself in my own zone, and that's how I am with it. And I always feel comfortable. I've never walked into a place where I wasn't comfortable. I think when that day comes, I'm going to know I'm dealing with something else.
Okay.
So far, it
Yeah.
hasn't. I'm fine with it. What about you?
I think the only like really creepy thing that I've had happen on a ghost hunt would probably be when I was staring at the stairs in the basement of Hillview when I heard footsteps running at me and nobody was there.
Mhm.
I mean that definitely creeped me out, but I mean when I was younger, I think just seeing shadows and not understanding what it was. And I remember one of the times that I told them like I saw like a shadow going across the wall of my room, and they were like, it was probably a bug. And I'm just like, I don't know. It was kind of, I was like, a bug looks like a head.
A bug. Oh my God. I've heard that many a times.
I mean, as a kid, it's creepy though. Like you see
It
stuff
is.
and like you don't understand what's going on. And at least now I have like a better understanding, but I haven't had anything that's made me like truly like run away. Get
I
creeped out,
don't,
yes, but haven't run like, everyone does on TV.
that's TV. I have my own opinions for the TV, but tonight I'm going to be okay and keep my mouth shut on the shows that I see on TV. But for me, we were in East McKeesport, and we were down in the cellar, and we had this little Chinese girl. She had 86 pounds soaking wet, right? She literally got picked up and thrown. She was picked up off the floor and thrown.
Well, that's all about she weighs.
And another one was we were cleaning up the investigation, and my brother went downstairs to get the equipment that we had down there in the basement. And so he went down, but on his way up again, upstairs on the very top step, there was a screw that big, sticking straight up like that. If he didn't see it, he would have stepped on it. That was a nasty house. That was pretty badass.
Yeah, everybody has stories, and I think there's a lot of realizations that we learn from them all. That's why I it's fun talking to people about their encounters. The sad part is a lot of people hold them on. in fear that someone's going to judge them in a bad way if they talk about something or an issue, whether it's ufology or paranormal, ghostly, scenarios. And I mean, in ways, I wish I could sit around a big campfire with everybody and everybody just like feel comfortable enough to talk, because it's
Right.
hard. People don't want to break the ice anymore. They talked more about it years ago than they do now. And I don't understand what that was about. I mean, people were just more open to content and conversation. It's much more difficult now. It really is.
I think a lot more people are closed-minded.
Yeah, they are. You're right. You hit it on the book. But then again, when I started in 2006, thank God for TAPS when they came out on their TV show. Because before TAPS came on, there was a lot of people that did not talk about their experiences because they were afraid that they were going to go to a mental hospital, right? I believe half or maybe 60% of the people were in mental hospitals is because they were empathic or they were psychic, and they did not know how to handle it, so they threw them in psychiatric hospitals. So, and there was nothing wrong with them; they just could see spirits,
Yeah.
But when TAPS came out, people started to watch it, and that kind of like opened up people to start talking about it. But as the years went by, ghost hunting on TV was good for maybe about 10 years. Okay. And then all of a sudden, people started getting, by watching the shows, were actually understanding what ghosts are, and they kind of backed away from it.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember there were times, we were doing 2-3 a week, and that's the honest to God's truth. And all of a sudden, after everybody understood what a ghost was and how they investigated, nobody wanted investigated no more. They did not want their houses or whatever to investigate, and they kept it shut because we're more judgmental now than we were back then.
Well, I don't know. It depends, I guess. I mean, what the topic is. I know Bigfoot, you can't get a guest off people's platforms. They're just coming out of the woodwork in many ways, and that's a fact. I don't look to have 100 people when I do it. I look for I don't know, people that just connect well with me, that I can have good conversations with, and seem credible. I'm not saying people aren't credible, and you can't listen to every other podcast either. But just weighing some of the things that I see, it seems like the people that follow Bigfoot come out more, and Dogman, and then you have the mystery crypt. Then it starts to like fall into that paranormal, ghostly, what is it effect. It's like people are looking at creatures being of flesh and blood versus supernatural, and I don't know if that's some type of mind conflict or what for some. But I like to stress to everybody, if you experience something, talk to people about it. We no longer live in that society, because you're absolutely right. These asylums, whatever you want to call them, we're putting people away because, like you said, they may have had abilities or they were deformed or something. And it's funny just how parents gave children away, and they became a product of experiment by governments, and worse than that, worse than that. And I think that's why their presence or more or less stick around in some of these places, whether they're angry or they just didn't have enough to understand that they were dead, that something happened and they haven't put it together. So there is a divide that's going on, but it's not all bad, it's not all good. It's kind of like
Right. Now, a lot of people talk about around Halloween about the veil thinning out. You've heard about that, right, Kim? Mike?
Yes, sir.
About the veil thinning. Personally, me, I believe the veil is always thin, and that the ghosts have the opportunity to come into our realm all the time. I really believe that.
Well, we watch them walk through walls. So, yeah, I would say that's And which brings up another theory too. It's not exactly ghosts, but it's phenomena of a different kind. And I used to talk about this, and I want you to think about this. Like when it comes to abductions, do they really abduct us people in flesh and blood, or do they just abduct our consciousness? And that's how we envision the abduction happening, where we're taken like by our hand and guided through a wall up into a craft through the atmosphere. And it just makes me wonder what the abilities are like there. And there's a lot of stories that back that type of story up, that it's happened, but people don't always remember. They only remember waking up in bed. I'm not saying that has to do with the same, but what I'm trying to say, I guess, is from the spiritual side, we now know that there are some mediums that are even making claim to the fact that a lot of them do understand the alien aspect of the paranormal, and they can decipher between the two.
Right.
There's only a few that have said it. The girl from Dead Files,
Amy?
yeah, Amy from Dead Files reflects to that. Lisa reflects to that, and I think there was one guy that used to reflect to that, and he did automatic ratings a lot. And I was pretty set back. The reason I bring it up, I was pretty set back to where mediums normally never talk about, you know, a being, alien being of some sort being part of the agenda of the paranormal, but they are.
Mm-hmm.
Existence of that is tied within it. So I just wonder sometimes, which ones are they?
You know what? I kind of agree what you came up with. That they were consciously or subconsciously taken. You know what I mean? And they were just showing a hologram of what was happening, and these people are seeing this hologram. All I know is for me, one time we got a couple minutes left, but I know for me, there was a lot of times that I'd be sleeping, I'd have my eyes closed, and all of a sudden I would see a real bright light. You know what I mean? Real bright. And I knew my eyes were shut, and I knew I was in a dark room, and I believe maybe I just did not know what was happening. And as I learned more about the UFOs and about the abductions and stuff like that, maybe I was abducted. I don't know, but I just wanted to share that with everybody.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Hey, Ernie, how are you, brother? I've been seeing you there. Thank you. Can't wait till tomorrow. There's my buddy that'll be on with Russell, Ernie Dubois. A lot of people know him throughout the Bigfoot community and many other communities. He's a big supporter to all the communities out there. Should be a very interesting show. Yeah, but it's just always been a thought in my mind that, if these aliens are able to do that, they probably have other methods that people don't, look deep enough into. But
Right.
again, when you start matching up and doing the research and paying attention, not for always the like of a show, but the information from the person that conducts the information the strongest, I go to those type of shows to understand how they validate their information, how they can be so freaking precise. And I'm not saying that in the mystery of all the behind what goes on behind the glass, we know that there are narratives involved. But I know people that have also spoken directly about some of these things to a couple of these people, and they say this phenomena is very real, and they're even called in at times on government issues.
Russell Easterbrook says he gets woken up at 3:33 often too.
What is that about, man? Me too. I know. I just figured here's what in a way I started to think in my mind that somebody else may have wanted me to be awake before I was bothered. I don't know. And if you're awake, are they stopping you from the dream state, from the this?
The REM.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, you saw those marks all over my arm from those pictures. Those hands
Yeah.
were massive, and all I remembered was I was, like in the air. I remember being guided. I was like in the air, but I said to myself when I woke up, that was just a dream. I looked at my arm, and those big imprints all over my arm were there. And my hands are not a bad size, but these things were like
They were huge.
It was like Bigfoot grabbed me and took me on a journey. And that's what astro projections,
Yes.
or I went through that a couple times. The one time I went through it when I woke up in the morning, and I was a young kid when that happened, I couldn't lift my arms. They were so fatigued. It was like I was out there flying as a bird or a different something, and then I came back. I was fine, but I had several of those. And this was the most recent. It was about 2 years ago. Do you remember those pictures where the big handprints were over my arm?
I don't remember how long ago.
Yeah, it's like 2-3 years ago when that happened.
Okay.
That was the last time. But I know that in the dream, it's the funniest part about it. The dream matched up with the fact that something in me were somewhere
Right.
together in my dream, my consciousness, or in this ether that's out here, this world of energy that we don't know understand. But wake up and have marked, and these weren't cuts or scratches. You saw them.
No. I saw them. That picture you sent me. They
Yeah,
were
I
huge.
don't know. Maybe you don't even remember. I'll see if it's on here because I know we're going to be going dead in a few minutes too.
Yeah, a couple minutes.
Yeah.
So, how everything turned out okay for our first time with going 3 hours on Chasing Prophecy. I really enjoyed the third hour of Into the Night. The chat, it's just a little segment for about an hour. But how did you think it worked out, Kim?
Well, I think it's doing good.
Okay. With the 2 hours and then the 1 hour segment for Chasing Prophecy?
Yeah.
Okay.
I say, why kill the audience participation? Just let it roll. I mean, I really do feel that's probably the best way. So I think the way the producers were looking at it was like, the numbers were very, very strong. But again, we have guests coming on tonight. It was about me and you and getting to know each other more, talking more as human beings to each other. And letting people see what's behind the show and what's forthcoming. And again, if anybody has any ideas, who the types of guests you would want on, the book authors that you would want on, and maybe some famous people you would want on, you put it up. We'll see what we can do.
Exactly.
It could be possible. You just never know. I got a message here from Stephen Greer. That's all I'm saying. You never know.
True. I'm keeping my fingers crossed. Any last words, Michael?
Just want to thank everybody for bringing us into your homes and enjoying some of the conversation with us. Without you, we're nothing. Always remember that. But it does take time and research to also provide a good show of topic, as well as contacts. So we're doing the best we can to keep up with the times. I hope you enjoy us. I hope you'll come back weekly to be part of us. And also remember, we'll be giving out free T-shirts and mugs to some of our guests to come in to watch. And a couple other surprises coming.
Oh, yeah.
In the mix, coming in the mix.
Kim, do you have anything you want to tell people?
I mean, I just think it's been nice being able to join in the last few weeks and talk about, like my feelings on the paranormal and experiences and stuff. It's nice to be able to sit down and share these things, and hopefully people can take away from it some information or just be able to be open or maybe understand their own experiences a little bit better.
Awesome. And I'm grateful that you were on the show tonight. That was really nice. Michael, thank you for inviting her.
I heard her moving around upstairs. I says, I'm going to tell Kim to come down.
Good. That was a good move. Now, everybody out there, I want to thank everybody for tuning in for Chasing Prophecy, the 3-hour program going on right now. If you have any comments about it, feel free to send me or Michael a message about it, and we can go from there. But all I say, and I say this, and I'll say it again, and children, go to your parents and give them a hug and tell them that you love them. And parents, please go to your children and tell them that you love them.
Ah! All right, you happy? No, you go do yours.
He's in Indianapolis, buddy.
I don't care. Send them a note.
I will. But and if you don't have anybody to hug, find somebody to hug. This May is mental health issue month. This is the month of May, I do believe. And if you can do this, if you know somebody that's really hurting, you know what? Just sit with them. You don't have to talk. Just sit. And if they need to talk to you, just listen. Because that's what we need. We need somebody, and I'll be the first one to admit it. I have mental health issues. I have a lot of them. But there are times when I need somebody to hold or talk. So on that note, I want to thank everybody for coming in tonight. Next week, we're going to have a great show. Tuesday night, 7:10. Michael, what was that guy's name again?
Ronald Moorhead will be with us.
Ronald Moorhead will be with us.
Yeah.
And on that note, everybody, please have a good night. Stay safe and happy hunting. Bye-bye.